All right, y'all, I'm back. I'm back. I gotta do my nails. They're jacked up. They need to get done for tomorrow. So I'm gonna be sitting here a while. I figured I'd run through some videos. I had some controversial matters to talk about that I'd saved up. So I thought that would be fun. We can discuss it. And maybe some not so controversial stuff too. I've got a bunch of stuff in my queue that we can kind of just watch together. So yeah, it'll be a fun little hangout tonight. Hopefully, lively chat and discussion. We will see. Also, you're free to bring up subjects. We already have Matthew. I don't know if he's still here, but he brought up the tall white aliens. I love the tall whites. Although I don't really believe in aliens. I'll be real. I don't really believe that beings from outer space or other planets are visiting us. I mean, I'm open to the possibility, maybe. I do find that kind of thing interesting, but I don't really think that's the case. Although, I mean, I have entertained and had interesting insights. I do think that maybe some people lived on Mars at one point or are from Mars. So maybe within our solar system, there's been other life. And I was into like the Planet X thing back in the day a bit, Nibiru, where they were talking about how we'd be able to see the planet come into our purview. I don't know what happened with those theories. I kind of stopped paying attention. A lot of this stuff is just fantasy and escapism and really not relevant to my life. So I can only pay so much attention to it. But by and large, I don't really believe in aliens. I think that people who are communicating or being abducted by so-called aliens are really dealing with elves or like demons, So hi to Sarian, Missing Maud, See Now and Know, Samuel. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for being here. So yeah, we'll talk about some different things. No real plans. I'm trying to get my nail polish off to start, but maybe I should cue something up. Elves. Yeah, are you familiar with elves? So like the gray aliens that everyone describes being abducted by, they look exactly like dark elves. So if you look in like mythology and you look up what a dark elf looks like, the similarities are uncanny. And there were always these stories about how the elves would try to interbreed with humans, or there's different stories like that from different cultures. But yeah, they would try to have offspring with us, but the offspring would usually be very sickly or they'd have some deformities. And people who describe like alien abduction often have these kind of experiences where they say they've had like children that they meet, They are similar to Skyrim elves because like I remember the dark elf. When I played Skyrim, I only played it once, but the dark elf is similar to a gray alien in appearance. So yeah, there we go. But anyway, we're getting off on some crazy talk. I didn't think we'd go into aliens, but Matt had to bring it up, Matthew. He's always good for well, I mean, he always brings interesting stuff. But how's everybody doing? Did y'all go to church? Did y'all have a good time at church? I did. My friend actually came and attended with me. And the sermon was on Psalm 90, or not 90, sorry, Psalm 30. You know, the one about how weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that like all mythological creatures are necessarily demons, or not mythological, but like I don't think all supernatural creatures are necessarily demons. I think some of them definitely are, a lot of them, but I do believe in like elemental spirits. I think they're like a different category. But who knows? Maybe I'm deceived. I don't know. I try not to think too much about it, but it is interesting stuff. I read this book years ago called The Vengeful Djinn by Rosemary Ellen Guiley, and I thought that had some interesting stuff. She actually believes that all paranormal activity are from the jinn specifically. And yeah, different cultures will have different names for these creatures, but she thinks the Muslim interpretation of them is the best description to understand like what they are, why they are interacting with us the way they do, and the fact that some of them are not hostile to humans, because some of them are actually believers. And you find that with like fairies and elves and other creatures. Some of them are actually, described as having faith in Christ or having different religious beliefs. Like not all of them are hostile to humans. Some definitely are though, and they're dangerous. Well, anyway, interesting stuff, y'all. I've got a very difficult nail polish on today. It's one of those glittery ones, so getting it up is taking a little bit more work than usual. This is Abdul mess. Yeah, I know. Well, it's getting removed. Some of it's already been removed. It's the pink nail polish that I had. Oh, okay, the Y files. Are you into? Excuse me. Are you into aliens, Matthew? Are you an alien believer? You don't believe in space, but you believe in aliens. Mm. I think I'm going to go for this red color that I did a couple weeks back again. This nice red, nice deep red. I loved the X Files when it came out. I watched that with my dad. It was so iconic, when it came out. There was nothing like it that had ever been on TV before. So I remember just, especially the first few seasons, it was fascinating. Such a great show. Queuing up my watch later here for y'all. Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, where to begin? I'm looking. All right, this first one is an ex-lesbian talking about leaving homosexuality. Dudes wearing nail polish. Yeah, Renee. I don't like men to be feminine like that. I mean, I wouldn't judge every man for that, but like personally, I prefer to be the pretty one. I don't like a man doing that. It would have to be a very specific kind of man. He'd have to be like really, I don't know, like he'd have to be like a famous musician or something. You know what I mean? It'd have to be something that was like part of a look that was, part of that, and it'd have to be like only black nail polish or something. I couldn't deal with anything else. But even then, I don't know. I don't like the idea of men wearing nail polish. Let women be women. You're not supposed to be. decorating yourself like women do. It's I feel like our society is really backwards because women don't know how to be feminine and men don't know how to be masculine, and the arts of femininity are all lost, and not completely. I mean, I'm learning them, but it's taken me like decades to really figure out all this stuff, and I'm still learning. And I feel like, in decades previous, women just had this stuff down. Like they understood men, men understood women, and they understood, how to be, women knew how to be feminine and men knew how to be masculine. And it seems to be, we've had multiple generations now where it's just been lost. And it's unfortunate for all of us because we're all suffering from a lack of being able to flourish and to develop ourselves as I think God would have intended, because men can't be feminine the way a woman can, it doesn't work. Of course men can have certain qualities, but it's not the same. Okay, I've almost got my right hand down. Just reading about only Lenny Kravitz can wear. That's true. The Bible does say no. Yeah, it says we're not to wear the garments of one another. We're not to be copying one another, or not copying, but we're not to. And I think there's reasons for that. It's not only is it like dangerous to women and men, both, but it's it leads to a lot of confusion. Then again, I don't know. I've admired men who were like, I don't know. I was listening to Dead or Alive yesterday. Love that band. Love Pete Burns. I thought about maybe even reading his biography on here because or autobiography. I have a copy of it. And I don't know. It's one of those tell-alls. But he had a really interesting childhood that I thought might be fun to read about and discuss with y'all. I've read this book before, obviously, but he was a man who, wore women's clothing but he was also very strong in his identity as a man. And I kind of appreciated that about him because, people be like, oh, are you transgender? Like, what's the deal with you? Because he wore makeup and he wore like clothing that was designed for women. He's like, no, I just like women's clothing, I think, or like clothing that's designed for women. It's nicer. He said it's a lot more stylish, it's more interesting. But he also made a lot of clothing and stuff, so I don't know. Irish Pub doesn't want to hear about Pete Burns. I don't know about that. And serve the collective as automatons. Oh my god. What is it I like about P. Burns? Well, there were many things I liked about him. I loved his voice. He had an incredible baritone voice. I loved the way he thought about things. He had a very he wasn't somebody you could pin down in one way or another. He was often very honest as well in how he talked about his life and about other people. He also had a very extremely straight, he had a very traumatic childhood. His mother was German, and she was very old when she had him. Like, I don't know how old she was. He never knew exactly how old she was, but she was like, basically like had this small child, and she's like in her 50s. And it was Pete, and she was also really mentally damaged. I mean, she survived she survived World War II in Germany, So she had a lot of trauma around that, like the uprooting of her life, everything she lost. And she was miserable because she didn't relate to any of the other women. All the other mothers were like decades younger than her. And anyway, yeah, Pete was in, I think, and Pete was just an interesting individual. I love reading autobiographies about people. I love seeing how people interpret their lives, what they reveal about themselves, and kind of putting it into the bigger frame of their psychology. Just like I loved reading How Not to Be a Boy. Like, even though I had like these judgments about Robert Webb, and I think, oh, he's a beta male, all of this. Like, it also is still a lot of things in his life I could admire, I could look at and respect. I don't think people are one dimensional, and I like reading about people and understanding that they're not. And like, ultimately, like, it doesn't really matter. People are going to fall short. But we can understand why and maybe like put it together and maybe understand where things go wrong. I don't know. I think it's a good way to learn. But yeah, rest in peace, Pete Burns. He was a sad one. He had a very tragic life. Like, anyway, his mother was self-harming, at an early age. And he used to be like, watch her get ready. And he described like seeing his mother was very glamorous as well, like a very glamorous woman. She would not be seen in public without herself completely done up. So I don't know. It's interesting. She really did have an effect on his psyche. And yeah, we wonder like when men become effeminate in some ways. I mean, I don't know. He was effeminate in some ways, but then he was really not in other ways. Like, I don't know. Interesting. I find it interesting. I find individuals interesting. And I like to, learn about people who, kind of fall outside norms as well. Let's talk Raymond. Raymond who? Who is Raymond? Are you talking about? Why are you asking if I'm still a Christian? You were asking me like about this a couple of days ago. Why would I stop being a Christian within a matter of days? Why would I ever stop being a Christian? I've never stopped being a Christian. You can't really leave. Once you're in the club, you're in the club. Once you're saved, you're saved. You may think you're like not a Christian, but watch out. You are in denial. I love all them atheists that'll be like, oh yeah, I was a Christian, but I fell away. And I'm like, oh, so you were saved? Tell me about your salvation story. And I'm like, okay, see you in heaven. See you in heaven, honey. Who am I voting for? I came out, I'm supporting Trump this year. It's Trump 2024. Who are you voting for? Dang, everyone's here. It's popping. I haven't even put my little videos on. Thank you, Zenny. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. God came and he was like, no, this little sheep ain't going anywhere. The Great White Hope. The Great White Hope. No, I don't know. I believe in eternal salvation. Once you're saved, nothing can take you out of God's hands. Yeah. God left the flock. He was like, this one's been wandering. I better go get her. God is so faithful. I mean, that's really, to me, kind of astounding. I've mentioned it before, but I was in rebellion to God and he never gave up on me. He still like took me out of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I look at it now and I'm like, whoa, I went through all these things, but now I have an even like stronger testimony because of it. Like, because, there's something about being saved as a child. I always had that childlike faith, but I didn't really know anything. I don't know. It's a great mystery to me, but God is mysterious. I mean, when I think about it, like, I don't know. I definitely believe in that doctrine of eternal salvation. Once you're saved, nothing can take you out of his hands. Even if you're being tortured, even if you're like going through all kinds of things, even if you're in rebellion, you're still part of his kingdom. He can still use you. And really, it's up to you how far you want to walk. But there's not really anything you can do that will take your salvation from you. But that's just how I see it. Doesn't mean you should sin or, stray from God, but it does happen in people's lives, and God will find a way through that, if you're lucky, especially. Charles Spurgeon's sermons. You think microplastics cause people to have mystical beliefs? Like microplastics aren't a mystical belief. Stacy, why do you think that angels are worth more to God than man, who is made in God's image? Angels are not made in God's image. Man was. Humanity was. Man and woman were made in God's image. Angels were not. He told the angels to bow before us. He puts us above the angels. Angels are not worth to God what humanity is. Did I lose weight? Yes, I did. I've lost a lot of weight over the years. I used to be fat. Angels are not above us. What? Are you nuts? If they're serving us, they're not above us. Angels, humanity is above angels in the hierarchy of God's love, period. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all can bring the verses. I'm not Bible thumping here. It's just puzzling to me what some women seem to find fascinating about gay men and their trauma or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think there is something fascinating about it. Jesus, I can't keep up with y'all. I cannot keep up with y'all in the chat. What? I don't have to Bible thump. I came on here to watch some videos. But no, humanity is above the angels. Humanity is above the angels. Y'all are wrong. Y'all are wrong. If you think that angels are above humanity in terms of God's valuation, no, no. This is interesting. I've heard that it's said that Italian girls are very good at cooking. What is your opinion on this, please, if you have time? I don't know. I've never had an Italian woman cook for me, so I can't say. Yeah, I don't really care either. Yeah, humans are above angels. Hu- y'all don't get it. How much God loves us. We're made in his image. Angels are not made in God's image, y'all. What are you smoking? Okay, well, we'll see when we get to heaven, Zenny. Okay, but you're gonna owe me $5, and that's $5 American, not Canadian. Thank you. I'll bet you $5 in heaven. When we get there, we'll see. Hello, Aaron Ra. To believe you must be the lie. Dude, whatever. You need to calm down. Aaron Ra, are you like a popular atheist YouTuber? Or is this somebody trolling with that name? God loves us, y'all. I want to get on the controversy. I want to talk about like gay people having kids and stuff. Okay, no, this one was about leaving homosexuality. It's a woman's testimony. So, yeah, I thought this would be interesting. Uh, oh, look an ad.
Running a species with 50,000 locations worldwide is an...
Hey guys, my name is Carla, and today I'm here to tell you guys the story of how God has completely changed me from the inside out. This is going to be my testimony, and it's something that I'm very nervous to talk about. I didn't think I was going to have to talk about it, but the Holy Spirit put it heavy on my heart to share it because there are people that are going through the same things as me and who are looking for answers on the internet and finding really awful things. And so I just wanted to share with you my experience. So I'm gonna get through it. I don't really know like if it's gonna flow properly, but this is just what it is, just raw and honest. For the past 5 years, I've been in a lesbian relationship. More than 5 years, since I was probably 7 or 8, I started to develop feelings for women. And what I thought was innocent at first quickly spiraled into its own thing. I remember having crushes on girls when I was younger, but not really pursuing anything. My dad was a minister in the church, and I grew up in church. And my mom was also active in the church as well. I always felt like there was something wrong with me, and I was just this awful person. And of course, like being that young and growing up in church, you knew that everyone told you that gay people went to hell. And so I was very afraid. And shortly after, realizing these feelings, I stopped talking to God because I was afraid
Yo, for real.
being a disappointment. And so I just never said anything. And shortly after that, the curiosity for the curiosity for the community of the LGBT became really interesting to me, and I wanted to just learn more. I wanted to know if there were people out there like me that were going through the same things. And I didn't want to talk about it, so I didn't really have anyone in like real life I could go to. So I started watching a lot of shows. Sorry, guys. One of the particular shows
Hey,
that I
she
watched
crying?
was called The L Word.
Oh yeah, I love the L word.
And in The L Word, basically, it's a series, a lesbian series, um, based out of LA, and these women just living these very glamorous lives. And I just became sort of kind of
Not so
immersed
glamorous.
in the show. And I remember being like, if these people can be, happy being who they are, then maybe I can be, happy where I am. And at the
The L word was
time,
happy.
I was in a relationship with a guy, but still having these very, very strong feelings for women. And like I said, I just was just trying to find myself. And I didn't really know. I was lost and I was confused and I was frustrated, but I was so curious to see like what was out there. And because I watched the show, I knew that people were able to freely live this lifestyle and it didn't seem like they cared. Like no one cared. They were just allowed to be them. And so I think my high school, after I graduated high school, um, I was like, I'm leaving this relationship. And I met a woman during my senior week. And I never felt, when I saw her, I never had felt that way before about anyone. And I remember being like, wow, she's really beautiful. And I just went after her and we became really good friends. And then we started dating and I fell in love. I never thought that I would fall in love with a woman, never in a million years. But I did. I fell deeply, deeply, head over heels in love with this woman.
Was it love
And
though?
5 years later, we came in a committed relationship. And I I was happy. I really was. Um, we had just moved into an amazing apartment, the apartment of my dreams. I had a good job. Everything was going fine. I was deeply in love. I wanted to get married. We were going to get married. And but then there were, you know, all throughout the relationship, there had been this like these tugs, these kind of like pulls um, that I didn't know was God at the time, but I kept hearing, his voice in my head and trying to like get my attention. And I kept ignoring it and shutting it off. But at the same time, I noticed that I used to be a really big dreamer in high school. I was really, ambitious and passionate about so many things. And I wanted to be a famous photographer. And I went to an art school. And I had all of these big dreams for my life. And my visions were so huge. And I noticed that over the years it started to die, and this part of me was like empty. There was this void that I couldn't seem to fill. It didn't matter like how happy my relationship was, how great my job was, like how much money I was making. There was this pull for me, this hole that really was a lot. And so I became lost multiple times during this journey, even though like to the outside world it would seem like I had the perfect life. But I didn't really talk to anyone about it. I always knew that no one really kind of understand what I was going through. So I just didn't speak to anyone. Um, so then earlier this year, sorry if I'm jumping around, earlier this year, I was like, okay, I'm going to make it my priority right now to follow God and to just try to find Him and hear His voice and just know Him for myself. Like I said, I grew up in church and I sat through all the services, and I just never really felt like I really knew who He was. I, skimmed the Bible, but like never in depth. And I was just like, okay, I need to know, Him for myself, because there's this part of me that's missing, and there's this vision that's dying in me, and my creativity is so limited and I feel so bound. And nothing I was doing to work to try to fill it was working. I was drinking, I was smoking, and there was nothing wrong with it. It was just like I just was trying to be kind of like everyone else around me. And it was like nothing could fill it. Nothing could fill it. And I didn't even know what I was trying to fill. I just knew that a part of me was like dying. And when this part of me was dying, it was just so heavy that I couldn't ignore it. I could not ignore it. And like throughout our relationship, I remember like trying to get close to God like multiple times, like trying to go to a church and just feeling so uncomfortable and just feeling like everyone around me knew that I was gay, and this antagonizing feeling of like being found out, even though I was open in the public, it seemed like I had to keep them separate. I was like, here's my lesbian lifestyle here, and here's me trying to build a relationship with God, and the two just didn't seem to mesh to me. And I couldn't find like a church. I tried to go back to my old church, and I just, everything was so familiar that it just made me feel like like I was out, and I was just so exposed. And the crazy thing about it is that people think that because I never lost my feminine identity and physical presence as a woman, that it made me that I wasn't gay or that I wasn't a lesbian. And that used to be it almost was like an armor. It's like because I still look and act and think like a woman, that I am, and I
Well,
physically
a
look
woman can't
like a woman,
do otherwise.
then I was able to just kind of hide behind it. Whereas my partner, or women who, start to lose their feminine identity and start to dress more quote unquote like masculine, um, it seems like they are more gay. You're not more or less gay than how you look. And so for me, it was just this, I just can't explain like where my head was. But I just remember just being really uncomfortable in church. And I even was like, okay, I'm going to go to a church that supports the LGBT community, because I really need to hear from God, because there are some parts of me that are dying, but I just need to be around people who will just accept me for who I am. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to be accepted for who I thought I was. And I could never bring myself to go to an LGBT church, because deep down there was this part of me that knew that what I was doing wasn't right. And that hurts, because you feel like how can you see something as a sin that doesn't feel like one? How can you call something that you love a sin?
Well, humanity loves our sin.
That was something that was really hard for me to process. I knew that God was the only one that could really give me the answers that I needed, and I had to move past myself. And so I started to just kind of research, like, can you be delivered from being gay, or like, how do you not be gay anymore? And stuff like conversion therapy would, come up, and I remember thinking like, God, like, why would you want me to go through something like that?
Yeah, I agree. She has very nice features.
Why would you want me to go through something like that? Something so awful, where these people are just hammering me with these questions and questioning who I am. And ultimately it's just going to make me miserable. And so I remember being like, listen, this is who I am, and I am not going to change. And in that moment, what I didn't realize is that I was telling God that I know who I am. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm going to do what is best for me. And so I did. And the tugging, he kept tugging and tugging and tugging at me and trying to get my attention. And during this time, I was still reading the word. I just was convincing myself that my sexuality and my relationship was just completely separate from the relationship that I was building with God. I would let him tell me stuff about every other part of my life, but when it came to my relationship, I would ignore it. I would shut it off. I would shut down. And I just kept hitting this like ceiling. Like I would try to go somewhere, and then I just couldn't get past it, and the vision just started. It was dead. It was dead. And I'm hoping I'm not all over the place, but I remember listening to this podcast, and it's called the Blessed and Bossed Up podcast. And it was the first time that I heard a woman that looked like me just speak unapologetically about God and what she was going through in the process and how difficult it was. And I remember her saying things like, teaching us basically how she heard from God and what she called the wilderness season and the process that she was going through. And I just remember admiring how obedient she was to everything that God wanted to do in her life, even when it was really hard. And I had heard God telling me to leave my lesbian lifestyle a long time ago, but I chose to ignore it. But just seeing her be so unapologetic about it, I was like, I want to be able to do that. I want to have the kind of relationship with God where when he tells me to go, I go. But I didn't want to sacrifice the life that I had built on my own, even if I knew that there was something greater that he had for me. So then I remember being at work, and I remember just being like, people would say that, homosexuality isn't talked about in the Bible, and, everything is just an interpretation, and pretty much everything that anyone can say to kind of make reasoning, make it okay to be gay and love Christ. I researched, and what I found was that it led me right to the scripture, and it broke my heart just reading those words and seeing how, like, I was thinking to myself, how could I be an abomination? How could my love be an abomination? And it really hurt.
We're not.
And somehow I was able to convince myself that, like, one thing I will say is that the mind is a crazy thing. I read a book in the beginning of the year called Battlefield of the Mind, and it was talking about the dangers of a reasoning mind. And it really showed me that your mind can reason yourself out of anything. Even when you're faced with the truth and it's staring you right in the face, you can really, you can reason.
Swindle Z, can you tone it down? I like my chat to be PG-13 and under, and like that's just so inappropriate. Like, what's wrong with you? Come on. I'm enjoying her testimony too. I mean, it is a bit dramatic, but like this book that she just mentioned, I'm gonna check out. I can't mod anybody from where I'm streaming right now. Let me see. Might be able to pop in on my stream. She's probably poly and didn't have a man to lead her. Nobody is poly. Polyamory is as sinful as being gay. What are you talking about?
Your way out of anything. And I was willing to reason the fact that maybe even worse, I am a lesbian and my love is pure. And this is who I am. I was willing to throw everything away. I didn't care. Like, I was convincing myself that this is what it was. And then fast forward, the woman who hosts the podcast was having a tour, and it was called the God Is Not CEO tour. And I had started a small business earlier in the year, but it really wasn't going anywhere. It was my attempt at trying to get my vision and my creativity back, and my independence, and just everything, this big hole that I felt. And I went there trying to get it back. And when I walked in, um, I was late. I was really late because on my way there, we were already on our way. We were so hungry, and this was me and my partner. We were driving, and I remember getting up extra early and being like, "I'm not going to be late. I'm going to be on time."
No, polygamy doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. In places where it's practiced regularly, there's all kinds of problems with it. Not having a man in the home every day with the children to be that example is really harmful to children. Apart from like the BS of it, like, oh, I love Milo too. Yeah, I love Milo so much. Y'all are my kids. I have to use different voices because you guys act up. Milo says he's straight now, but I doubt it. He's not straight. He's not gay. You're not straight. You're not gay. These aren't real identities. Your identity is beyond that. Okay? Like get there faster. Okay? I am not what I'm attracted to, and neither is Milo. He's a child of God. He is a spirit that's having a human experience here, you know? He is beyond that. That's that kind of stuff. He's beyond the worldly identities now. I know. I'm just saying. I have heard him say he's straight. I don't know. I love Milo. I love him. I love a hot mess. I love broken people. I can see the beauty in broken people. If you can't, like, how are you a Christian? Like, every single one of us is broken. If you can't see that even somebody as like broken as Milo has been has still so much use and value to God, like, not just use and value, but like God loves him. Like we should love him as well. This is how we should be with one another. Like, I'm no better than him. I'm probably worse than him in some ways. And he's said and done terrible things, and he's got all these negative qualities. Okay, can you look in the mirror and like not say the same thing about yourself? Can you not look at yourself honestly and assess yourself compared to God's righteousness and not say, wow, I really fall short? Because I know I've got no room to judge. Why are they so fascinating to some women? I really don't get it. Don't be jealous, Irish Republic. Jealous much? I don't know. Why don't we look at you and talk about you? Would that make you more excited? Right. I love that question because it does expose people. Like, people are really out here, they just like, and I love that too because it's like the only thing in our current culture, it's the only taboo. It's the only taboo left. Like, oh no, those are the people that it's acceptable to hate. Everybody else who's up to all kinds of perversion and wickedness and destructive tendencies, we can't hate them, but it's okay to hate the child molester. You know? Frederick says he is. I wish I understand, but I appreciate Frederick pushing back. You were on Top Chat? Oh, Lord. Shall we continue? Press 1 if you want me to continue with Bliss Lady. Do you want to hear her deliverance story? I'm continuing.
Whatever. We get there, and the engine light comes on, and then the oil light comes on, and so we try to pull over, and the car just stops. And I'm really frustrated.
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I don't know what the right answer is to that. I really don't know what the correct punishment is. And it's like again, goodbye, have a good day. Take care of yourself. Come back next time. I want to hear about the angels. Ask the angels. Go ask the angels. A tad long winded, indeed. Yeah, I mean, she's a girl, though. She's a young woman. What to do? Yeah, well, let's continue with her. I was going to pull up the chat on my phone and maybe mod Zen.
Because I'm like, yo, I have to get to this tour, like, whatever. So, like, long story short, the car is just like done. Like, it's just not coming back on. So we have to get the car towed, and I'm just really distraught and just really overwhelmed. And so I called a friend who had just happened to receive a free ticket to the tour, and so she drove me there. We got there. Long story short, we got there, and there was a section, and there was this woman, this prophet, I don't really remember her name, but she was speaking to the room, and she started hitting some things in my core, and she just kept saying the words like suddenly, and rivers, and she just kept prophesying over the room, and she was calling out specific people. And I remember building up this wall, like, please don't let this woman call me out. Please don't let this woman say anything about being a lesbian, because I've already felt so attacked just living in my own skin and just being in the world, and people holding up signs and telling you you're going to hell, and all of this hatred that's in the world for the LGBT community. I just wanted a place where I could just be hidden and not be attacked. And I remember her not calling me out, but there was a section in the program where she divided everyone up into different kind of like areas. Like one was for like wives, and one was, she said these words, marketplace and ministry. And she said, some of you are called to a marketplace, to have a marketplace in a ministry. And I remember feeling those two words, marketplace and ministry, just like stick to my core. And then I remember her saying, how many of you in this room had a vision that is lost? And I remember raising my hand because I knew that a part of me was dying. And so when she prayed over the marketplace and ministry, I went to the line it was being taught. The line that I went to, everyone was being prayed over. And the line that I went to, the speaker for the event, whose event it was, her name was Tatum, she was there, and I was like third or fourth or something in line. And I remember hearing this woman next to me speaking tongues, like really, really loudly behind me. And I didn't really recognize her before. And so she started speaking so heavenly.
Oh, Amy.
And the line for this woman's name was very long. And I remember I just wanted to be prayed over her. But for her, I wanted my vision back. And I wanted so desperately, I was willing to give anything for it, because I had been living this blocked life. And
so I can't do it from
they were pulling people out of the line. I was just thinking, like, God, please don't let anyone pull me out of this line. I only want to be prayed over by her. Like, I just want to get to where she is, because I heard the things that God had done for her, and I wanted her to speak life into me. I wanted that back. And I remember right as I was about to get in her prayer, in her vicinity, the woman who divided the line, she separated us, and she told the woman behind me that was speaking tongues to pray over me. She pulled me out of the line. There were people in front of me and people behind me, and she pulled me out of the line and told her to take me to the back to pray. And I remember being so nervous and being like, because I'm the type of person, I grew up in church, and I learned that you can't just let anyone pray over you. And I remember being like really frustrated. And so she took me to the back, and she started praying things to me immediately and prophesying directly into my life for things that I was going through. And this woman never knew me. She never knew anything about me. And I was still uncomfortable in the beginning, but then she said these words. She started off my prayer by saying that you are more than enough. And earlier that week, or like earlier that month, I felt in my spirit, as I was starting to hear from God, that God told me to buy this particular book for one of my friends, and the book was called More Than Enough. So when I heard those words, it kind of activated this trust in me to let this woman speak over my life. And I'm not really going to get into the details of what she said because it's very personal to me. But I remember in the end, she said, when I thought she was done praying, she looked at me and she said, I'm not sure if you're in a relationship right now, but I just want you to know that God is not going to allow this relationship to work. And I remember being so crushed. Because I'm like, I already was feeling so convicted walking in there and already knowing that.
Wow.
Already knowing. Sorry. Already
wonder
knowing
what she told her girlfriends.
How
hey, sweetie.
troubled I felt. And it just kind of confirmed that I knew that God was telling me to come out of the homosexual lifestyle, and I didn't want to because I felt this life. And I was happy. I was so happy. I wanted to spend the rest of my life.
Well, Swindle Z isn't modded. I'm not really familiar with Swindle Z.
And I left there, feeling just really distraught.
Don't time people out.
Just
Please,
awful because I had to tell the woman that I loved that I couldn't be with her anymore. And that hurt. That hurt like hell.
Aww.
And I couldn't do it on my own. So I just remember praying and crying and praying and crying, praying and crying.
Why is she making it so serious?
But I knew I had to do it. Because what was brought to my attention was that I put her, she became my idol. I put her before God.
Yeah.
I did. I put her before God.
That sounds like you did put her before God.
And
a lot of people do that in their relationships.
It didn't matter what he said about my life. No matter if he created me or not, I was going to go in the opposite direction. And what I was actually doing was I was setting myself up to fail. And so I broke it off. And it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. It was. Because before I tried to lead in my own strength when I first started feeling convictions about, being a Christian and being a lesbian, and I tried to figure it out on my own, but I wasn't really listening to what God had to say to me. And so this time I had to break up with her. It took everything out of me.
Why is she so emotional about it still, I wonder?
And
you know what I mean?
It was so hard.
That's what I'm finding difficult about this. She's getting emotional watching it, and it's if it's in the past, why are you so emotional? Yeah, I'm getting, it's yeah, Fred, I don't think it's very sincere, honestly. There are people who are ex-lesbian, gay, that I would recommend you would follow. This girl, I'm just she's not doing this for the right reasons, I feel. I don't feel she's ready to be talking about this. You know what I mean? I don't think she's there. Well, I don't know what you're implying, Sabrina. What do you mean by that? Is that meant to be personal toward me? Or something else? I don't know. What are you saying? Yeah, I would say I don't want to continue watching her. The emotionality, and maybe she's sincere, I don't know for sure, but I feel like she should be over this because it's joyful. it's a joyful thing to be out of it, honestly. It's like liberating and freeing to your spirit to be out of bondage. And to me, it seems like she's still very much in her heart torn between her affection for this woman and her desire to enter into the kingdom of God. Like, I'm just, yeah, I don't, whatever is going on here, I don't like it. So I think it's maybe a number of things. Yeah, I didn't even look at the name of the channel. Let me look at it. Let me pop out here and kind of look at it more closely. What is this? Made whole. I figured it would be a testimony. I don't know. Okay, this one was interesting. We can get in here. Or no, I haven't watched this one yet, but there were a few testimonies of people raised by like lesbians and gay men. So I wanted to play these because I just thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about. It's something I hadn't really thought about before. I know I'm kind of like wrapping my head around, you know, I know it's wrong, but like why? You know, kind of these things have been insightful to me and sort of developing my understanding of why. So,
as we mentioned, the Supreme Court.
Okay, so this was on CBN News, or yes, CBN News. So,
Court is hearing cases today that could undermine if same-sex marriage becomes the law of the land.
6 children who were raised by same-sex couples have filed briefs stating their opposition to redefining marriage. Heather Broderick and Katie Faust filed a friend of the court brief saying they were harmed because they were not raised by a father and a mother. They wrote, "While we love and cherish our mothers, we feel it's imperative we bring to the court's attention the impact that redefining marriage will have on children like us. We oppose gay marriage on the grounds it violates children's rights and cannot provide children with the most foundational building blocks for child development, a mother and a father living with them and loving them."
And CBN's Mark Martin recently spoke with Brandy Walton, the adult daughter of a same-sex couple. She wrote about her experience in thefederalist.com, and she's speaking out against gay marriage, saying she knows from experience that it's not good for children.
My family, my mother and my father divorced whenever I was a year old, and my mother claims that she knew since she was a young girl that she was a lesbian and she couldn't live a lie anymore, and decided that it was time to start living her life the way that she felt was right, and began living the homosexual lifestyle. I'm very close to my mom. I love my mom very much. We talk on a daily basis. She's a wonderful grandmother, and she was a good mom to me. The reason that I'm coming out now and writing this letter to the Federalists and becoming more public about it is because there were certain ramifications from growing up the way that I did that I feel the general public need to be made aware of, because this is a society issue, not just a personal issue for me or other children that were raised like myself. Families are the basic building block of our society.
What would you say to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community about their demands to be accepted?
There's a difference in acceptance and tolerance. And what my mother taught me as a child is that no one should be forced to accept anyone else. The greatest lesson my mother ever taught me was that she never forced anyone to accept her for being a lesbian. She appreciates tolerance. She would, simply try to get to know someone on a personal level. My mother never forced her lifestyle onto anyone. She never threw it in their face. In the Federalist, I talk about I never carried a flag in a gay pride parade. I wasn't taken to those things. My mother lived a quiet lifestyle, and it's not that she hid who she was, because she didn't hide who she was. She just never felt that it was appropriate to make anyone accept her for that. And so I would just encourage them to not demand it.
Brandy, we told folks on our Facebook page that we were going to talk with you, and they gave us a few questions to ask you. Cheryl Cairns asks, did not having a father in your life cause you pain or make you feel like something important was missing? Did you long for a daddy?
I absolutely did. I did. You know, in my piece of the Federalist, I talk about how I spent a lot of time at friends' homes. And as a matter of fact, I'm in the home right now of a friend of mine that I grew up with. And I like to call her parents my heterosexual parents because her mom and dad played a huge part in my life while I was growing up and let me see, you know, what it was like to live at a home where a mother and a father parented a child. And I, you know, loved to be there. And it had effects. This is whenever I was a little girl, anytime an airplane flew over, I would wave at it because I thought maybe he was in it. And, you know, if I waved at it, maybe he would see me. And I know that sounds silly, but as a 5 and 6 year old, those are the things that you think about. You wonder where they are and what's going on. And if they think about you, if they miss you, if they want to be in your life. And those questions plagued me until I was an adult.
Paula Stover asks, we hear having homosexual parents raising children and saving them from the foster care system is better than the previous situation. How do you answer statements like that? I mean, is having 2 homosexual parents better, do you think, than being moved around in the foster care system or in a household where domestic violence and drug abuse and neglect are part of a child's normal life?
Well, that's likely to happen in a homosexual house.
Here.
Just to
this
be real.
question is a question that I have asked myself for
come on.
years. And the honest truth is that I can't answer it.
Real.
I was raised in a situation and I know what it's like. And a child that's raised in a domestic violence situation or a foster care situation knows what it's like.
And then our final question,
yeah,
Nina Niedenfuhr asks,
really
do you feel that 2 parents of the same sex?
This mythology of loving, stable, homosexual household that somehow replicates in any way the standard of a loving, responsible heterosexual household. I've seen okay relationships, but in terms of stability and quality of life, that's all I mean. But I have met so many more couples where they're not stable. There's cheating going on constantly, and that's not stable. Let's just be real here, okay? So there's that kind of instability, constant infidelity, jealousy, anger in the home. Not a good place for a child. And how many of them are using drugs? If they're having promiscuous sex, which, infidelity is, a part of, is that going on in the home? Come on. And then we don't talk about this much, but how many women are violent towards other women? That's very common. It's more common than people want to admit. They talk about how passionate, quote unquote, lesbian love is. Passion is sometimes anger. A lot of the times it's anger. So there can be a lot of violence, intimidation going on in relationships. We're pretending like there's these ideal parents and people can put on a front, but they're probably not the best people to be leaving kids with. I'm not saying every case, but I think a single person would be a safer bet than putting them with a couple like that, honestly. In terms of risk factor. So I don't know. I'm just yeah, and that's the thing too. I can't keep up with y'all. Hold on, there was something someone said. I agree with that, Sabrina. I agree with that as well. But it's also not an ideal situation. And those women weren't necessarily, this is the other thing too. Sexual relationships are more unstable than other types of relationships. So if you have a platonic relationship with your neighbors and you pull together your resources and labor to, bring forth the next generation into the world, that's different than 2 women living together as a couple having, kids. And I know women that are in these scenarios, like, and I know these women do their best, I know these women love their children that they, have responsibility for. So I'm not diminishing that at all. I do know lesbian mothers, and I know they do their best, but it's not, those kids also are suffering from not having their father around. So, it's, yeah. Sabrina's been with me a long time. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I'm looking at on my phone. Yeah, I just don't know. It's like, and there's so many nuances. I don't want to I don't want to put down any women who are in this situation, though, too, because I do know women that are in the situation of maybe they're in a relationship with a woman who has kids, or, they have some kind of lesbian identity and they have kids. It's common. So, but would you just give kids over? We're talking about fostering here as well, like putting kids who are already disadvantaged in a very serious way by not having not being with their biological family, and it's amazing to me how many kids will get put into foster care instead of being given to their aunts and uncles, or cousins. It's always better to put a child with their family, their biological kin, if you can. It's going to be a much better situation. And oftentimes there is family available that can take these kids in. So I don't know why that isn't happening more often. I've known many people who've ended up in foster care. Well, not many, but I've known a few. And there were relatives, definitely, that could have been the ones putting them up. And I especially and if the state's going to be involved, why don't they just give money to the relatives if it's going to be a burden to them, which, taking on another kid is. So why pay a foster person for it instead of just give that money to somebody who is kin? And this is, this should only really be coming in when a child doesn't have any kin. I don't know. What, are you better than a gay man, Sabrina? Anyway, I think this is an interesting topic. Yeah. Oh, not the loosey-goosey term. Oh, dear. Laugh my ass off. Here we go. Okay, let's continue. I need to stop giving my opinion. We should just watch.
Can give a child what he or she needs to grow up in a healthy way, holding an accurate view of God.
Oh, that is a really tough one, Nina. Holding an accurate view of God. Well, this is what I'm going to say for me. This is what happened to me. And my grandparents are Southern Baptists, and whenever I would go to visit them, I had the opportunity to attend church with them every Sunday. Now, my mother never spoke down about God or religion, things of that nature. As I got older, got into about the 6th grade, I became very interested in religion and started wanting to go to church. And so she allowed me to go to church. She would drive me to any church I wanted to go to, come back and pick me up. I was very active in youth groups growing up and Sunday church. And so to me, that all depends on where that child's, family comes from, what examples they were given from the Christian community, and what kind of opinion they have of it. And there again, that's why it is so important for us to be good examples to those around us.
All right, Brandy Walton, thank you so much for your time and your insights. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Brandy.
You're watching a toothbrush play Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Okay, what's next? Okay, male professor raised by lesbians opposes same-sex parenting. Okay, let's get into it. Interesting.
It's based on the fact that a same-sex couple with a child, by definition, has excluded a parent from the home who is still biologically related to the child. And that, no matter how it happens, whether it's because the parent dies, whether it's a divorce, whether there was an adoption that took place, or whether it's because there was third-party reproduction where the other parent was bought out through a contract, all of those things are steps that are taken that are hard for the child. The child loses something. Each child has a natural born right to their mother and father. And if there's some disaster or misfortune that deprives a child of a mom or a dad, the child has a right to have an adoption that restores to them the mother and father that they lost. And they have a right to know that the people raising them did not cause that deprivation for their own pursuits.
Would you therefore be opposed to the introduction in law of same-sex marriage as has happened in this country?
I oppose that. I oppose it because in 2003 in Massachusetts, almost immediately, once the High Court of Massachusetts granted same-sex marriage equality, there were activists who then deduced from that same-sex marriage rights implied a right to adopt, or more generally, a right to children. And that is a dangerous principle.
Is there evidence from studies that children do better in a heterosexual family?
Well, this is a complicated question because many court cases have cited a consensus among experts that supposedly same-sex parenting poses no disadvantages to the children, but I reject that consensus for a number of reasons. First of all, the metrics used in those studies were very vague. A lot of those studies were conducted over a period of time when the demographics were changing in terms of what kind of kids, what kind of homes were same-sex parenting homes. Originally, this was widows and divorcees who came out of the closet after they lost one of their partners, and then they raised the children with the help of their new partner. That's very different from a gay couple that gets together with the plans of adopting or going to a sperm bank or going to a surrogate mother. So there was a huge change in the demographics of who the kids were. So many of the earlier studies we have to kind of toss out because it's just no longer applicable. The most recent studies and the most comprehensive ones that used clear metrics that had random samples that were representative of the population.
People I know who have gay parents or, parents who are somewhere in that community, the ones I know who, their parents were in a heterosexual relationship tend to be less traumatized, more stable from the process. And they have more stable relationships with both parents as well. Like, it's not a case of one parent being alienated either. It's a case of they were in this relationship, one usually left because they wanted to pursue, homosexual activity. So, you're calling him a fruitcake. Is that nice? How would you be if you had been raised by two lesbians? New guy. You'd probably have some things to overcome, wouldn't you? So don't be judging him. Dang, that's a very nice way of putting it, Tomas. Well, Calvin, I don't think Bev Joe is interested, and I don't appreciate you calling her that. And I would appreciate if you were more respectful about somebody who was a friend of mine and was a guest on my channel. Thank you. She's an old lady. Like, come on. You may have judgments about her, but I find it really, rude. Well, Becca wouldn't like a lot of things, but you know what? She was on my channel. She's she was very lovely to me the times I met her. She was very generous with me. She has a lot of good qualities, despite, things that people may not agree with her about. So it's just, yeah, she is. And there's those women that live that lifestyle are, intense. And I learned a lot, meeting them and talking with them about so many things. So I don't know, like, I wish people well. You're gonna get put into a timeout again, you nasty boy. Nasty Yoda, bad Yoda, disgusting Yoda. Well, now you all are free to have your opinions, and I'm sure she would have some very pointed opinion for you as well. Okay, so leave it be. Goodness, I don't like Yoda saying certain things. He knows I don't like certain things being said, and yet he does it. And he enjoys being punished for it. Now I'm the only one that can time him out. He said something disgusting, Gregatron. Don't think about what Yoda was saying. You know he says sexually harassive things. You know he crosses lines. Yeah. Hi. Hi. Yeah, she has many good qualities. Yeah, she does. She's another spider enthusiast. She's one of the only people I've been able to connect with about rats and spiders. Okay? And she can go on, and she's very sweet with the animals in her neighborhood. She feeds the raccoons, the squirrels. She has ones that come visit her every night. There's so many fascinating qualities, about this person that have nothing to do with her politics or her beliefs. Come here. Come here. Come on. What, you've been acting like you want to get on my lap. I'm trying to do my nails, but if you want to get on my lap, you can right now. Oh, I'm sorry, Irish Repub. Yeah, that's the other thing. Bevjo is Irish. Okay, you guys? Come on. She's Irish. Leave her alone. I know. That's right, Sabrina. That's right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and she is lovely, and you know what? She is very giving in a lot of ways to people, and she's very, not, women are crazy and complicated, and yeah, just come on, have some grace, have some grace. Terry, tell Church that I said hi, please. Who is Church? Who is Church, honey? Are you talking about my church? All right, Calvin. I wanted to, okay, before we move on here, let me acknowledge some stuff. Chaos Confessional came in with a super chat of a black cat. Thank you. I love those stickers. They're such a cute option, and you can pick different ones. So if you ever want to send a super chat, but you don't want to say something, you can just send one of those cute little images. I do it on other people's channels sometimes. It's fun. So if you're not sure. Then Seasal came in and became a YouTube channel member. Oh my gosh, y'all. Thank you for supporting the channel. And she gifted a membership as well. So we have two new members in the Strange world here. I'll have to do some kind of like private video for you guys, give you shout outs and stuff, or share something special with you. Hopefully something will come to me this week. Maybe a special reading. Hi. Yes, new guy is new here. So anyway, thank you to both of you. And then Frederick just came in as well with a super chat. Thank you. He says, Terri Strange show, best show on this side of heaven. 100, 100. Take your viewers' tax money and let me pay my tithes. Entertainment isn't free. Wow, thank you, Fred. Fred has a lot of wisdom. I appreciate Fred. I appreciate the antagonism sometimes when he disagrees with me and others. And I really, I love him when he tells people how it really is in the real world. That's kind of fun. Yeah. Tomas coming in. Isn't he foxy? This is why I call him a fox, if anyone wonders. Look at this. You've reiterated your newness so many times that it has grown it has grown stale and trite. You are no longer new. Wow. Savage. Fred should live stream tonight. Maybe he should. Yeah, who tells him to shut up? I haven't heard that yet. Sometimes people do need to shut up, though. Okay, so let's continue with this guy.
Not have a biased selection process in terms of who they recruited as respondents to the surveys. The three most recent ones were 2 in 2012 and 1 in 2013. There was the Lauren Mark study and the Mark Regnera study in 2012, and in 2013
I don't know about any of these studies.
there was the Doug Allen study, and those found negative consequences on
Why do I
children
need
of
to
having
hear
been
a
raised in a
study?
same-sex couple. My attitude
You know what I mean?
is,
Like, why do I need to hear about a study? Like, why do people need a study to just like look and observe reality? I remember that used to infuriate me back in the day. People would be like, what are your sources? And I'm like, this is just obvious to me. I'm the source, which was blasphemy. I wasn't the source. It was the spirit of truth making itself apparent and living amongst us, right? Like, man, the source, it's just coming through me. What do you mean? You want to see him? Do you feel, I don't think he is inclined. Are you inclined? Maybe he will be. He's doing well. Yes. He's like a little pancake right now. Right. Written on my heart. Maybe I'll say that next time. But I was just like, used to infuriate me. Like, I don't need a source to like observe and see what's happening. He is cute. Thank you, everyone. Oh, they think you're cute. Do people think you're cute? You are. You're pretty cute. I lucked out. How come I'm so lucky? How come I'm so lucky to have this cat? Oh my goodness. We're talking about cats today. My friend joined me at church and she showed her cats to one of the kids. This little girl had drawn a cat, or she'd like made some art of a cat. And so my friend got out her phone and showed the little girl pictures of her cats. And it was sweet. Why am I getting on this story though? Oh yeah, so then we were talking about my dear kitty Spur that came up, how wonderful his coat is. Oh yeah, one of the guys mentioned my cats. There's a guy at church that loves cats. He's very sweet. He's had a number of cats. He likes to tell me about them sometimes. He grew up with them. His mom had them, and then he had them as an adult as well. I vaguely remember this. Yes, yeah, Matt Damon's character really owned that guy and impressed that girl. My boy's wicked smart. Oh, yeah, of course. Take me to your dealer. I love that name. It's so good. Maybe I need to find a wife in church. I mean, there's all kinds of blasphemous places out there that you could attend, maybe. I was looking at it as I was coming into church today. There's a church nearby that has, all the pride stuff. The woke stuff. And I pass it on my way to church. Usually. I mean, yeah. So they have a massive parking lot. It's all full, and then people are usually lined up around the block to attend the church. And we do well. Like, I think we do well for attendance, but it's nowhere near what that church brings in. But I was kind of thinking, I'm like, they make it comfortable for people. So there's plenty of churches out there that, exist, that function as those kind of clubs. So maybe if that's, what you want to do, but I don't suggest it. And you shouldn't be going to church to get something like that out of it. You're supposed to be going to church because you want to serve your community and be a light in your community. You want to fellowship with your community in a godly Christian way. Like, that's the reason you should be attending a church. You want to be of service, not be served. That should be your orientation to being a church member. Right, exactly, Irish with Hub. It's like, you think getting this person is going to fill the void that you feel? You're like doing everything in reverse. You should be seeking what's right before you seek a wife or husband or anything else. Like, what do you really have to offer another human being if you aren't right with God? Yeah. That's a great way of putting it, throwing every manner of object into the hole. I mean, I don't know if we've all done it. I've done that. It's just more hell. You're just adding more hell into your life. You are so sweet and so calm. What a good kitty. What? Y'all, let's move on.
Social science is not going to answer this question for us, and so I disregard all of it. But if you are going to say that the social science has to be the major venue, you have to look at that and say, basically, this is still inconclusive. Because what you have is many studies that seem to point to no disadvantage.
Oh, it's so
but there are
great.
many reasons that we have to doubt
What do I need to
the
clip?
truthful, or not the truthfulness, but the correctness of those studies. And then we have 3 much more powerful, comprehensive studies that came out recently that have a representative sample that seem to show disadvantages.
Interesting Christian concern. Concerned.
With the YouTube Music app, you can blend up to 30 artists into one big custom radio
Did I get
station.
the app? What
Which
do y'all
means
think? Okay, does anybody here have the YouTube Music app? Let me know. Do you like it? Is it a good idea? Should I switch from Spotify to this? Let me know. Not bad ads.
Hello, I am Samantha, and I am 39 years old. I was born in 1984, and I was raised by 2 gay men. For the first 8 years, arguably the most formative years, I had no mother in my life. I had a very difficult time at that age articulating my desire to have a mother. I fantasized about having a mother, and I would notice references to mothers and motherhood in pop culture, in movies, in songs on the radio. And I had this deep longing to have a mother and to understand what being a mother was all about and what it meant. I loved my 2 gay dads very dearly, and I was very attached to them, and I appreciated them helping me and taking care of me. But no matter how feminine a gay man is, he can never be a mother. And I missed out on having a daily connection with my biological mother. And during those very impressionable first few years of my life, it changed me and who I am as a person. It has affected how I relate to my children. And in subtle but noticeable ways, it affects how I relate to my husband and to other women in my life. I have been deeply shamed and mocked because of my advocacy against gay marriage and gay parenting. I've been told that I should be grateful to have 2 parents that love me. And I know from experience that every time gay couples have or acquire a child, that child is deprived of the love and nurturing that comes with a daily connection with their biological parent, and the love and nurturing of one of the genders that's necessary for a child to thrive. It's not discrimination for the state to uphold a child's right to have the perfect gender balance in the home. It is not an adult's right to have access to a child just because they want one. And it is a child's right to be raised and provided for by the 2 people that are responsible for their very existence.
I was muted. How embarrassing. I was explaining myself. I didn't need to, did I? Okay. Act right or you will flame me again. I got my own timeout. Good one. Good one. Hello, Victor. Nice to see you. I thought her perspective was interesting, that last lady. I liked how succinct she was as well. And she didn't get into any of these studies. Like, I found the guy before her very convoluted and hard to listen to. And maybe it's because she had two fathers that she's so, like, direct and to the point, you know? But she said she suffered because, I mean, I know it would be difficult having two fathers, regardless of how feminine the men may think they are. Like, a feminine man is not a woman and can't give a little girl an example of womanhood to aspire to or look up to, you know? He just can't. And he can't teach her to be soft the way a woman is. He cannot teach her to be a feminine woman. He can teach her to be a masculine woman. And this is the other thing too, like when we talk about these men are feminine, they may have feminine interests, but like really at the end of the day, no man is a woman. And no woman's really masculine either. You know, we need to get out of that kind of talk anyway. Like every woman is feminine by virtue of being a woman. And when we pretend they aren't, you know, for men and women, we're kind of dehumanizing them to an extent. So I don't like that language around these, you know, when we talk about people. And I'm guilty of it too. I've called men feminine. I've called women masculine. I've thought that things that maybe qualities about me were masculine, and really that's not helpful to a person. You know, I think for men and women, masculinity and femininity is something you grow into, and part of the dance between the two, the polarity between masculinity and femininity, and the way that you correct that is by bringing men and women together. You know, men can't become fully masculine until they have that feminine counterpart, and vice versa. Women cannot become fully feminine until they have that masculine counterpart. I have a very urban look. I thought I looked kind of, I don't know what I thought I looked like today, honestly. People liked my hair though. I got some compliments on the hair. People were like, "Oh yeah, love the hair." Yeah, I think so too. I grew up in a single parent household, so I know how difficult it is to not have a mother. Like for a child, I imagine this girl suffered greatly, and she had these two dads who I no doubt, like all of these people had nothing negative to say about their parents at all. You notice that. None of them had anything negative to say, but that wasn't the issue. The issue is the suffering from the lack of having the right balance. You know, children need a mother and a father. I know, they like my hair. Is it all real? Is it all real? Are you kidding me? No. Imagine if I did do all that. God, it would take forever. I already take enough time. Cooking streams? I don't know. But this is my filming space. I'd have to set up like a whole new, I'd have to rearrange all this stuff, put, you know, and I can't do that. I can't be making trad wife content if I'm not a trad wife. And, you know, trad wives are not working. Can I just be clear about that? All that content that where these women are claiming to be trad wives, they're making money off of their content. They're running a business. Okay? Like, stop pretending. They're acting. That isn't true, new guy. Frederick, I do know how to cook. You might be a better cook than me. Yoda's always complimenting your cooking. So I don't know. Maybe you're a better cook than me, but I know how to cook, and I don't appreciate that. Aw. Yeah, I could be like that Southern lady I showed you where she like dumps all the stuff together, all the like most crazy, ridiculous stuff together, and you know, do that kind of content, and then show Nero in like cuts in between, you know, while the thing is baking or like cooling in the freezer or whatever she does with it, you know. I hate y'all. Y'all want to have me cooking for you, acting like you don't enjoy this stream enough. Like, I'm not gonna be doing all that. I'm not that. I'm not gonna be, you know, being a little like trad wife fantasy for y'all. I don't know what you guys are even thinking. Like, that's insane. Put on a little apron for y'all and talk about little simple meals you can make. Come on, come on. That's what you think of me. Oh, Court is here. Good evening, Court. Court has made his entrance. Am I for real, Terri Strange? Purify yourself, please. Terri Child. Me and Terri, Sister Wives Cooking Show. Oh, dear. The snake pit will tell me to turn the grease up. Oh, God, yeah, doing it live. Can you imagine if I was cooking live? That would be the most boring content because a lot of cooking is just sitting around and waiting. You like do things and then you wait. And then you do things and then you wait. I don't know. Like, and I don't know. That is I would make a good trad wife for incels. Oh, dear. That's exactly. I would never be a sister wife, y'all. I don't know. That's not something I would be involved in. That's some ghetto stuff. Talking about Terri is 100% in every aspect. I'd be telling ladies to do better. To be better. What is being better? Why is that telling, like, okay, so you want me cooking and then telling women that they need to, what, submit to their husbands more, smile more, do what more? Like, cleaning is great exercise, ladies. Like, you want me to make that kind of content? You want me to go like full evil? These guys want Stepford Wives. Stepford Wives is fun. That was something we did when I was in Radical Women. I was big behind organizing this, but I decided that it was one of the events that I organized pretty heavily, like took control of, which was this film showing of Sister Wives. Or not Sister Wives, Stepford Wives, excuse me. Not Sister Wives would have been fun. But yeah, it was a cool little film showing and discussion we had afterwards. I ended up like buying a copy of the film on DVD so that we would have it because I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah. I like that film. That film is fun. It's really good. It really is. It's I found I had a lot of differences with the radical women as well because I didn't feel like they were man-hating enough. What made you become less radical? God? Yeah, God. It had to be God. God working in my life to deliver me from evil. Yeah, it was God. I'm filing my claws a bit. My nails are a bit feeling a little bit wrecked right now. I need to cut them, but I'm not like exactly ready to. I want to give it another week or so before I cut them short because they grew really long this summer, really, really rapidly. I do have some aprons. I do actually have I mean, that's not necessarily untrue, Sabrina. I don't think Sabrina's wrong here. I think that's very commonly the case. Definitely an issue I had. But anger makes people crazy, you know, and that anger is fostered in so many different parts of our culture. People get these victim complexes and they go off and go crazy. Like, you know, and if there's enough other things wrong with them, it's just like a domino effect. Like where before you know it, they're totally sucked into this like cult. She says, man love her as if it is abnormal. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We're supposed to love one another. Humans are supposed to love one another. The fact that we're discouraged not to is like very problematic. It has very real repercussions for society at large that have been negative. I mean, look at the results of hate and anger and see where it's getting us. Y'all are crazy. Now Yoda's trying to stir up some nonsense. Do I want kids one day? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm open to it. Like if it's the right situation, yes. Is it like in the forefront of my mind? Like I need to be moving in the direction of having this right now? No. Like, because I'm just not in the position that I see in my life right now to have them. And I don't see, anybody that's like stepping in to give me them. I'm not in that kind of position. So, I mean, I like things to be done in the right order. And it's not, I don't see it as the time. But maybe it is. It really depends. I don't know what the future will bring. I thought for a long time I didn't want them. Now I'm more open to it, I think, just because I've done a lot of healing. But I'm not open to like so much, and I really don't want to. I want to make sure that if I do have a child, I think just because I did have a chaotic childhood, I want to make sure that I'm doing things in the right order, for my child, if I am to have any. So I need to be, married, have, that kind of stability, a home that's stable, where I can have a child and feel like I did the right, I'm doing my part to not bring more hell into the world. Right. I don't think about it too much, but people ask. You know what I mean? Don't think about kids too much. That just happens. People ask though, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't really think about it, but I do enjoy the children I know. And I do think that like, it's ultimately not up to me, really. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, like, I'll be okay. I'm open to what God has for me. And maybe that's in my story, maybe it's not. I don't know. Not everybody needs to have them, But it is, I do think, like, I have done a lot of work and God's done a lot in my life. I do think it could be a good thing. Whereas I didn't ever see it could be before. So yeah, it's just something, I haven't thought about much, and I've kind of made peace either way. It's not something though that I like am yearning for, Yeah. I'm glad your friend isn't going to be a surrogate. That's not a good idea. Women do not do this to yourselves. And this is the other thing, like women give themselves away so cheaply. They don't even know what they're giving away. You're literally bringing life in through your womb. What is that worth? What financial what can you be actually paid for that? And then you're not going to have that child? Hell no. Like, no. Absolutely not. Like, it's wrong. It's wrong. Period. Right, exactly. It's not right. It's not, and it's not fair to you as a woman. Your womb and your status as a mother, that isn't worth anything that somebody could give you. And for people who want to have a child who can't have it naturally through whatever they're doing or whatever they've got going on, there's a reason for that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're going to sell your baby for $100K? You're going to sell your womb, your body in that way. And all that, pregnancy isn't a walk in the park to bring a new life into the world. You're going to put your body through all of that for money, and then you're going to sell your baby? Come on. That's sick. What kind of mother are you? Like, come on. What are you thinking? It's crazy. That's your, yeah, exactly. And I don't care whose egg it is, whose sperm it is, what they paid, where they live, where you live. That's your baby. And there's people like having babies through surrogates in like third world countries right now, where they implant like they implant their eggs, their fertilized eggs into these women's wombs. And it's messed up. And they pay these women a fraction of what they would be paying a woman in the West to do it. People need to stop. Like, people need to like get real. It's so messed up. I can't even, like, when I get into surrogacy, it just, the astoundingness of it and the callousness of it. Like, there's so much attachment a woman forms to her baby while it's growing inside of her. It's astounding. It's astounding to me. Like, and then you're gonna sell your baby. What? Do I feel the same about egg sperm donation? All of it. All of it freaks me out. All of it is a hell no. All of it is a hell no to me. No, absolutely not. I'm sorry, like, what are people thinking? What are people thinking when they do these things? Like, I just don't understand it. Why would you give your eggs to somebody? Why would you give your sperm to somebody as well? Why would you do that? Yeah, I don't, yeah. Ugh, I want to move on. I want to move on. This subject is just like, ugh. Controversial stuff. Oh, hey, Chris. Chris is here. We can't have Chris without a moderation. We can't have Chris not be mod. Not everyone is a mod. There's a few not mods here. Sorry, Chris got put back to work. If you're all modded, then you can't be modded. Yeah. We are the foundation, the bedrock of Terry's chat. All these old mods feel like Clark Kent. Ugh. Zenny cracked the mod whip. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one either. I just read that. I was kind of like, ew. Zenny's not mad with power. It's okay. Good job. Zenny has begun moderating. Vixa. Should I bring Vixa up? Let's make her a mod too. It's not right to not have Vixa modded. Or Vixa modded. Yoda's telling someone to be funny but not crude. That's funny. Okay, let's move on. Now, what else did I have saved here? Okay. Women in politics. I definitely want to watch that one later on. Oh, did anybody watch the RFK like dropout speech? Would y'all be interested in watching a bit of that with me until we get bored of it? Press 1 if you're down to watch it. I'm like Oprah. Okay. Oh, Stacey's really interested. Okay, so I found out this morning that Tucker Carlson has a podcast. So I went on it, saw that he interviewed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So I listened to the episode this morning and realized I did save his dropout speech, but I hadn't watched it. One trader with a bad voice. Have I heard of scholastic answers and apostolic majesty? No. We should watch clips of Oprah being mean to atheists. I have issues with Oprah. Everybody's got issues with Oprah. Tucker is CIA. Whoa. Well, I guess you would know, being from Washington, D.C. Are you one of them? Ain't no way you're on Team Chicken Tikka Kamala. Whoa. That was racist, Zenny. Wow. I can't believe Zenny said something racist. I was wondering when it was going to happen. Trump and RFK are awesome boomers. Interesting, yeah. Ron Paul is greater than RFK. Y'all are nuts. I don't know. I think Ron Paul has given some pretty interesting, he said some very true things throughout the years. He definitely has. There's been a number of times where he's spoken and I've been like, yeah, he was right. RFK and his stupid climate change crap. I mean, yeah, he's a Democrat. Anyway, it was an interesting interview he did with Tucker Carlson. So, whatever. Like, you can listen or not, but we're going to watch him right now, okay? We're queuing it up. We're going to get in there. I'm probably going to start painting my nails. Maybe. I might have a little bit more filing to do, but we're going to move on. You got Court. Oh no, Court. Court, you let Yoda get you? I know what I know, Terry. And I know what I know. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I liked Ross Perot. Can I talk? Let me talk and I'll tell you. Tucker Carlson might be a Fed. I don't know. I mean, oh Lord, guys, what if Tucker is watching right now? Do people do nail ASMR? I bet I could. I could set up something. I don't know. I don't want people watching my hands that much. I don't know. Why can't I just do what I'm doing? You don't like what we're doing now? You don't like hanging out with me and just chilling? Having a chill stream or having me read to y'all? Why do I have to do all this stuff? Like, why can't you just appreciate what I'm offering? Yeah, I think he might be here. Tucker might be watching and you guys are calling him a Fed. Like, stop. Hi, Icarus Fallen. I am well. Okay, let me just Let me just get this set up, okay? And then we'll move over here. Oh, his tan is insane. Hi. 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 Amy, guess who's here? Nero. What do you think? Come on. Look up here. Look, you're a little happy. What do you think? Up here. Come on. What do you think? Good kitty. Wow. What a good kid. Kid, what a good kid. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like my nails. Nail care, yeah, I could do something about like nail care. I am learning. He is handsome, isn't he? He's a fine looking cat. You find us all? Look at that beautiful coat. You've got that thick fur. It's thick and soft, very dense, lovely fur coat. Cute as a mug. That's why I got one. I'm glad you got I've got a little black cat too. Black cats. There's something about them. I believe in black cat supremacy. Yes. Are black cats best? You're so good. You have been busy redecorating your entire house. Oh my. That sounds kind of nice though. Black cat lives matter. That's right. Black cats' lives matter. Do they matter? Thick bottom fur, boots with the fur. Got the whole room looking at her. One of my favorites. You would not steal my cat's affections, Matthew. Yes, I'm upset that you would even say that. Oh my God, Cecil. I don't know. When I was a younger woman, I didn't like when men told me to smile. Now I smile all the time, so no one ever tells me to smile. They're usually just like, oh, your smile is so nice. If everybody smiled like you, the world would be a better place. So the annoying male attention, is of a different sort now. But yeah, it used to tick me off. Everything ticked me off back then, though. I was always ticked about something. Yeah, smiling is great. It's when you smile, the whole world smiles back at you, right? Okay, I was supposed to be queuing up poor Robert. Poor Robert. What are we going to do about poor Robert? His speech is unfortunate. I have to say that. I hadn't really been paying that much attention to him, but he really struggles willfully to speak. But look at his tan. Isn't that outrageous? Like, how are these guys so dark? What are they? Did he get a spray tan before this? I mean, look at him.
I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting. 16 months ago, in April of 2023, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. I began this journey as a Democrat, the party of my father, my uncle, the party which I pledged my own allegiance to long before I was old enough to vote. I attended my first Democratic convention at the age of 6 in 1960. And back then, the Democrats were the champions of the Constitution, of civil rights, The Democrats stood against authoritarianism, against censorship, against colonialism, imperialism, and unjust wars. We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy.
Since when?
As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically from the core values that I grew up with. It had become the party of war, censorship,
I don't disagree.
corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big money. When it abandoned democracy by canceling the primary to conceal the cognitive decline of the sitting president, I left the party to run as an independent. The mainstream of American politics and journalism derided my decision. Conventional wisdom said that it would be impossible even to get on the ballot as an independent because each state poses an insurmountable tangle of arbitrary rules for collecting signatures. I would need over 1 million signatures, something no presidential candidate in history had ever achieved. And then I'd need a team of attorneys and millions of dollars to handle all the legal challenges from the DNC. The naysayers told us that we were climbing a glass version of Mount Impossible. So the first thing I want to tell you is that we proved them wrong. We did it because beneath the radar of mainstream media organs, we inspired a massive independent political movement. More than 100,000 volunteers sprang into action, hopeful that they could reverse our nation's decline. Many worked 10-hour days, sometimes in blizzards and blazing heat. They sacrificed family time, personal commitments, and sleep month after month, energized by a shared vision of a nation healed of its divisions. They set up tables at churches and farmers markets. They canvassed door to door. In Utah and in New Hampshire, volunteers collected signatures in snowstorms, convincing each supporter to stop in the frigid cold, take off their gloves, and to sign legibly. During a heat wave in Nevada, I met a tall, athletic volunteer who cheerfully told me that he had lost 25 pounds collecting signatures in 117-degree heat. To finance this effort, young Americans donated their lunch money, and senior citizens gave up part of their Social Security checks.
Aww.
Our 50-state organization collected those millions of signatures and more. No presidential campaign in American political history has ever done that.
Good job, man.
And so I want to thank all of those dedicated volunteers and congratulate the campaign staff who coordinated this enormous logistical feat. Your accomplishments were regarded as impossible. You carried me up that glass mountain. You pulled off a miracle. You achieved what all the pundits said could never be done. You have my deepest gratitude, and I'm never going to forget that, not just for what you did for my campaign, but for the sacrifices you made because you love our country. You showed everyone that democracy is still possible here. It continues to survive in the press and in the idealistic human energies that still thrive beneath a canvas of neglect and of official and institutional corruption. Today, I'm here to tell you that I will not allow your efforts to go to waste. I'm here to tell you that I will leverage your tremendous accomplishments to serve the ideals that we share, the ideals of peace, of prosperity, of freedom, of health, all the ideals that motivated my campaign. I'm here today to describe the path forward that you've opened with your commitment and with your hard labors. Now, in an honest system, I believe that I would have won the election. In a system like mine that my father and my uncles thrived in, a system with open debates, with fair primaries, with regularly scheduled debates, with fair primaries, and with a truly independent media untainted by government propaganda and censorship. In a system of nonpartisan courts and election boards, everything would be different. After all, the polls consistently showed me beating each of the other candidates, both in favorability and also in head-to-head matchups. But I'm sorry to say that while democracy may still be alive at the grassroots, it has become little more than a slogan for our political institutions, for our media, and for our government, and most sadly at all for me, the Democratic Party. In the name of saving democracy, the Democratic Party set itself to dismantling it, lacking confidence in its candidate, that its candidate could win in a fair election at the voting booth. The DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself. Each time that our volunteers turned in those towering boxes of signatures needed to get on the ballot, the DNC dragged us into court, state after state, attempting to erase their work and to subvert the will of the voters who had signed those petitions.
Yeah, don't be nasty.
It deployed DNC-aligned judges to throw me and other candidates off the ballot and to throw President Trump in jail. It ran a sham primary that was rigged to prevent any serious challenge to President Biden.
I mean, the lighting here is, I agree, his suit really washes him out with that background. He needs a brighter blue suit. I'm glad that he wore blue, though. Blue is the right choice, but it's just the wrong shade. It's a bit too dark. Terry has just put a user you blocked in timeout for 10 seconds. It's not nasty if it's true. No, but it isn't any of our business. You're being nasty in that you're discussing people's private business. It's not our business what Court got up to with anyone that he may have been intimate with or anybody else. Come on now. You know this.
And when a predictably bungled debate performance precipitated the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days. This is profoundly undemocratic. How are people to choose when they don't know whom they are choosing? And how can this look to the rest of the world? My father and my uncle were always conscious of America's image abroad because of our nation's role as the template for democracy, the role model for democratic processes, and the leader of the free world. Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, nothing. No policies, no interviews, no debates, only smoke and mirrors and balloons in a highly produced Chicago circus. There in Chicago, a string of Democratic speakers mentioned Donald Trump 147 times just on the first day. Oh, who needs a policy when you have Trump to hate? In contrast, at the RNC convention, President Biden was mentioned only twice in 4 days. I do interviews every day. Many of you have interviewed me. Anybody who asks gets to interview me. Some days I do as many as 10. President Trump, who actually was nominated and won an election, also does interviews daily. How did the Democratic Party choose a candidate that has never done an interview or debate during the entire election cycle? We know the answers. They did it by weaponizing the government agencies. They did it by abandoning democracy. They did it by suing the opposition and by disenfranchising American voters. What most alarms me isn't how the Democratic Party conducts its internal affairs or runs its candidates. What alarms me is the resort to censorship and media control and the weaponization of the federal agencies. When a US president colludes with or outright coerces media companies to censor political speech, it's an attack on our most sacred right of free expression. And that's the very right upon which all of our other constitutional rights rest. President Biden mocked Vladimir Putin's 88% landslide in the Russian elections, observing that Putin and his party controlled the Russian press and that Putin prevented serious opponents from appearing on the ballot. But here in America, the DNC also prevented opponents from appearing on the ballot. And our television networks expose themselves as Democratic Party organs. Over the course of more than a year in a campaign where my poll numbers reached at times in the high 20s, the DNC-aligned mainstream media networks maintain a near perfect embargo on interviews with me. During his 10-month presidential campaign in 1992, Ross Perot gave 34 interviews on mainstream networks. In contrast, during the 16 months since I declared, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN combined gave only 2 live interviews from me. Those networks instead ran a continuous deluge of hit pieces with inaccurate, often vile, pejoratives and defamatory smears. Some of those same networks and colluded with the DNC to keep me off the debate stage.
Well, anyway, yeah, I mean, this is no. If you're interested, I would say go check it out. This isn't very different from his conversation on Tucker Carlson's podcast that I listened to. Like, it's not really any different. I don't know if they did a video interview together or not, but I came across the podcast and listened to it this morning. So he's kind of just saying the same things. Interesting, though. Apparently, he hasn't really completely dropped out. He's still running in multiple states, but he's going off the ballot basically in any swing states. So there's like 10 states that he worked out a deal with Trump to go off of the ballot on. So yeah, I think 50s is kind of more a good age to start having presidents at. I don't think the age thing is a bad thing necessarily, but I do think we do need to see younger men stepping up, and younger men can do a lot more, just by sheer strength. So maybe a guy who has children that kind of age would be good, but not every president has to be that, And I'm sure that there's, it's really about, are these men able to spot the right and mentor the right leaders for the future, these older men? And I don't know that that's happened so much on Biden's side. I might just go dark in November, says Matthew. You do what you need to do. I understand. It's a terrible time. I don't know. Yeah, somebody was suggesting I do a election live stream. I think it was Stacy, I'm in no way interested in doing an election live stream. I think too, I bet you this year Nick is going to go live during the election. He's been having a lot of popularity with the other streams he's done for different things like that. So different coverages like that, I think he should probably do it. What do I think about Buddhism and mindfulness practices? I mean, it's not going to teach you anything that, I don't think much about Buddhism. Buddhism is such like a broad term. Like, what do you mean? What kind of Buddhism? Like, just from what I've come across, there's nothing in it that I find particularly untrue. But I don't think it has the complexity or richness of Christianity. I don't think it's going to get you where you need to go ultimately. I don't think it's going to redeem you or deliver you from anything. Like, really, mindfulness is good. But prayer is mindfulness as well. Why are you all insulting one another? You guys, come on, get along. But I don't know that I have really like a lot that I can say about Buddhism, and not much is coming to mind. But I mean, I remember in studying it and kind of like going over basics of it. Like, again, I didn't see it as problematic, some of the beliefs that people have in it. But then, I don't know, there is a lot of idolatry. But I don't know, you could say that about Christians as well. I just, it's not for me. When people like leave their traditional faith and like they think, oh, I'll study Buddhism. It's like, usually I'm just like, something wrong about it. Like, have you even figured out and grappled with like what you should have a basic understanding of before you go study anything else? But I don't know. Things happen the way they're supposed to, I guess. I'm older than a state shoe. I just realized I don't have much light on. The light's changing and I didn't have my overhead lights on. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Kato on Pink Panther was hilarious. I agree. I watched a Pink Panther recently, and by recently I mean the past couple of years. I watched all of them as a kid, so it's kind of interesting. I hadn't watched them since that time, so it's kind of like interesting to revisit it. But anyway, Pink Panther, Peter Sellers, what a funny man. Okay, yeah, my nails are barely done. I've got like my base coat on and now I'm letting it dry. I take time doing my nails, y'all. I'm 2.5 hours sitting here. You like Blazing Saddles? Yeah, I liked Blazing Saddles as well. Blazing Saddles is like amazing. Court is very Blazing Saddles, yeah. I'm not going to fight you because I don't fight with men, but you're wrong. Wrong. You are wrong. So wrong. So very wrong. Really? Like, you're just saying that because it's not actually true. American Office is terrible. Like, really? British humor is no, it's vastly superior, vastly superior. I can't. Yes, Icarus Fallen knows. It's way funnier. Like, I can't even believe, sometimes I have jokes from the British Office like pop into my head. Like, just scenes that are like, the cringe level was so intense. Like, oh, it's amazing. So amazing. Mary May liked the British Office. I know when people say, oh, it's boring, I can't even. I mean, you kind of have to slow down and watch it. It's not something that I don't know. I really don't like American humor like that. You know, there are American comedies and like comedians that I do love, obviously, but I don't know, those kind of sitcoms, comedy, I don't know. I don't feel like they really, I don't really feel like they captured the, oh, I love Are You Being Served? I love Are You Being Served? The P word jokes, amazing. There aren't enough like people making jokes with the P word in it. I don't want to say it, but cat, that P word. David Brent, Master of Cringe. Yeah, I've watched a bunch of like, just Ricky Gervais is something else. He's something else. You know, he used to manage Suede. Like, isn't that amazing? Ricky Gervais managed my favorite band. So I got a soft spot for him just because of like the Suede connection. It's like, oh, he's part of the Suede-verse. I've totally seen none of these white genre movies y'all are discussing. These are TV shows. I bet you liked Murphy Brown. I remember liking it a bit. I haven't revisited it as an adult, but when I was a little girl, yeah, I remember it being on TV and liking it. I love Designing Women too. Does anybody watch like Designing Women? Any Designing Women fans? Great. I loved it. I still like remember, like, there's several episodes I still remember just being like, oh my God. Yeah, Are You Being Served is amazing. I that was, I think, my introduction really to British comedy was that one. I remember watching it like on PBS late at night when I was a kid, when they play all that British stuff, and I would just be like so into it. But yeah, Are You Being Served? I loved it. Oh God. Who are the characters? Captain Peacock. Oh Lord. Mr. Humphreys. I can't even remember. Those are the only two I remember. Yeah, the old lady. I can't remember her name right now. She passed away recently, the actress that played her. Let's look it up. Hey, don't you be starting nothing with me, sir. Don't you be talking to me like that. I tried watching Faulty Towers, but I didn't really get into it. I like watched a couple of episodes. Yeah, I'm feeling bad because I read an article about her recently, but yeah, let's look it up. Mrs. Slocum. That's right. That was her name, Mrs. Slocum. Are you free, Mrs. Slocum? Yes, I'm free. I loved this show, man. This was the stuff. I watched all of it, at least all they had on Amazon Prime. I think I had the Brit box going for a while. Actually, I might still have it. I need to like stop paying for it. No. No, I don't like Mr. Bean. I really do like Rowan Atkinson though. Like I love what's it called? We were just talking about it. Blackadder. Blackadder is amazing. So I like that actor a lot. But not so much the Mr. Bean character. I found it kind of gross, didn't you, Mrs. Slocum? Nasty. Hi, Modern Gentleman. Yeah, no, I've watched An Idiot Abroad. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. An Idiot Abroad is like so great. I love it. Oh, let's see. Yeah, you're late, but that's okay. I'm still doing my nails, hun. I'm going to be doing my nails probably for a while longer. Stop. Stop, you little puss. Stop it. I have to put my pussy on. Put my pussy in. Or whatever. She had all those funny pussy jokes. I said it. I got it out. I got the P word out. Nero came over and helped me get it out. Yeah, this old lady with like, she'd make all these like outlandish jokes with the P word. I mean, and she just delivered them so well. So yeah, there's the actors. Miss Brahms is the younger lady that serves under her. Mr. Humphreys is the not so ambiguously homosexual guy character. Mr. Lucas, who was also, he was there like I think for half of the series, and then was replaced by another guy. But he ended up being on an episode of Keeping Up Appearances. Are there any Keeping Up Appearances fans in the audience? Anybody watch that? Girl, I got it out. I said it. I said the B word. Carl Pilkington, yeah, he's hilarious. Like, seriously, An Idiot Abroad. Now that's amazing. So, for those who haven't seen it, he basically goes on these incredible trips to, like, he sees the 7 wonders of the world. He goes to all these different nations for these different events. It's really like incredible trips that he goes on. He's basically traveling the world, but he's miserable and having like, he's just insufferable and miserable throughout it. And it's hilarious. And then he did the series with Warwick Davis, where they traveled together. And that was like so good. Hey, you can't stand B. Arthur? Really? You absolutely fabulous. I love Ab Fab. I love Ab Fab. So good. So good. Don French and Jennifer Saunders wrote that. Oh, Yoda's seen it. Yeah. There are so many like amazing things like that. Like, yes, Mrs. Bouquet or Bucket, the Bucket Lady, as they call her. It's pronounced Bouquet. I love that series. And Patricia Rutledge is like just amazing. Anything I can see with her in it, I view, because she's just an incredible actress. Oh, wow. Matthew says that Kids in the Hall was super gay. I mean, they were a bit gay. I mean, they were Gen X, so they were kind of like trying to push the envelope about like progressivism at the time, which was like supporting gays. And they had Scott as one of the members. And I love Scott Thompson. I've met him before. He's wonderful. Like, love for that man. All of the Kids in the Hall. Like, I love Kids in the Hall. Some of the best, like, times I had just having it on and, like, watching it obsessively. Love it. But yeah, it is a bit gay. I mean, that's a staple of, like, British comedy is, like, cross-dressing. It's common, though, in American comedy, too. Like, I don't know. Stacey says Kids in the Hall is one of her favorite things in the world. I met him when I saw him and Kevin. I met him and Kevin after going to see them perform, I think at the Club Helium here in Portland. They did a joint kind of tour together, and they hit Portland, and I went to see them, and my friend wanted to stay after and do a meet and greet. And I kind of regret this. Like, I didn't get a picture with either of them. Like, now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Because Kevin came, like, right up to me and put his, like, arms around me and stuck his, like, foot out. And he's like, do you want to get a picture? And I was like, no. I don't know. But my friend, yeah. And then Scott was really nice, too. Oh, I love that show. Two Fat Women show. But yeah, Keeping Up Appearances. Okay, so we're on Are You Being Served? And you know what? What's her name? Joanne Lumley from Absolutely Fabulous was in a series or an episode of Are You Being Served? Quite an interesting show. Let's pull up the Wikipedia. Oof. The show follows the misadventures and mishaps of the staff in their regular rotating series of customers at the retail ladies' and gentlemen's clothing departments in the flagship department store of a fictional chain called Grace Brothers. Yeah, it is so it is so interesting. Like, I don't know. Let's see. The sitcom featured humor based on sexual innuendo, misunderstanding, mistaken identity, farce, and occasional slapstick. In addition, there were sight gags generated by outrageous costumes, which the characters were sometimes required to wear for store promotions, and gaudy store displays, sometimes featuring malfunctioning robotic mannequins. The show is remembered for its prolific use of double entendres. Alongside the comedy, yes, that's where the pussy jokes come into play. Alongside the comedy, some episodes also conducted specialized dance routines, which were choreographed either to be natural or sometimes comedic in effect. Yeah, the show is like wild. It's like a variety show almost, because every episode, the store has to go through some kind of like transformation, or they're rolling out some new way of doing things, and like for some reason they end up like sleeping in the store or having some kind of like weird thing go on. I can say whatever the F I want because I'm a grown woman, Gregatron. You're not gonna stop me. You have to watch it to understand. I feel like there's not enough light. Oh dear. I just can't get the light right. I'm like wondering if I should take a quick break before painting the red on my nails. You'll disavow me doing what? Yes. Maybe I should pull it up. Let me pull up a clip. Let me see if I can find like a tiny clip. Hopefully they won't come for me. We'll look for like something. Okay, here we go. Look at me. Sharon and Sharon. Sharon is Karen. Be sure to like, because I'm sharing all kinds of gold with you. Oh my goodness. Y'all, excuse me. And it's not, I need to figure out how to get it to share right the first way. Well, anyway, yeah.
1 minute late.
You're lucky to have me at all, Captain Peacock. I have to thaw my pussy out before I kiss. I've been out all night.
Oh no, we're not gonna watch it together. Yeah, it's like very classic I love 70s TV, honestly. Some of my favorite shows are from the 70s. Someone mentioned Peep Show. We all know how I feel about Peep Show. We read Robert Webb's freaking autobiography on this channel. We love Peep Show. I don't like Sherlock. You like Sherlock? Don't use any BBC stuff. I know. Well, I went for like a very independent channel and a very short clip. Yeah, I know. They came from me when I shared The Young Ones. Like, I got away with sharing an episode of The Young Ones a while back. I thought it would be fine. But yeah, I shared The Young Ones, and they totally suspended my stream for a few minutes. I was like, thank you for chat for letting me know. Yeah, I don't know. I have a friend who got really into Sherlock too. My friend Ruby, that was a guest on the channel where we played Smash or Pass. She was really into Sherlock for a while. I don't like you all saying nasty things in my chats about people who are not here to defend themselves. Please stop. Oh, I flooded this one a little bit. Wasn't paying enough attention. Not bad though. I love this color, this bright red. You stole second base. You stole it? Are you admitting to a crime there, Matthew? I should hope so. I should hope so, Quartz. Yeah, I don't know about this formula. It is strange. I don't think it's a gel because gels will usually come into they'll come in an opaque jar. And this one isn't opaque, so I'm kind of like confused. But the formula is a bit strange. Wow. Lots of police around tonight. Oh, yeah. Drop Dead Fred is a classic. Your niece will love it. Every girl needs to see Drop Dead Fred. I love Drop Dead Fred. Rick Mail. Oh, I love him. We talked about The New Statesman once before on here. Yeah, thank you for saving me, Yoda. Thank you for saving me from something that wasn't ever going to have even been brought up or discussed at all if it hadn't been for you in the first place. So I don't know that you saved me so much as that you led me into a trap and then try to convince me you saved me, like you're doing some kind of trauma bonding ritual with me. Like, what? Yeah, your sisters love Drop Dead Fred. It's a good one. I mean, It is a good one. Phoebe Cates is so lovely, isn't she? And it really is an amazing story. Her like imaginary friend helps her get through like all this difficult stuff in her life, and you know, to develop her own sense of integrity and strength. You know, it's beautiful. It really is. I love Drop Dead Fred. And I love at the end where the other little girl, she runs into that other, oh, I don't want to give it away. Never mind. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. That was Rick Mail. I think that was his biggest thing that he did in the US. Rick Mail. What an amazing guy. So funny. I love the young ones though. The young ones is like astounding. There's so much good British comedy. Like I can't even begin. I mean, I can. Doctor Who is the preeminent Brit show. I don't know. I'm not that into Doctor Who. I've tried watching different Doctor Who's from different time periods, and I just really can't get into it. It doesn't matter when. It's like, ugh. No, I'm doing my nails. I don't have time to be, you know, attentive to whatever you may wish because I'm doing my nails. Do you understand? My nails, my nails. Do you understand? I know you want my attention and all kinds of things, but my nails are getting done. I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm so sorry. Harry Enfield and the Fast Show. I'm not familiar with that. The Fast Show. Harry Enfield and the Fast Show. Oh, are you eating dead plants to upset me? Are you trying to upset me by eating a dead plant? Do you think that's actually going to do anything? All you're doing is upsetting your own self. It is not that drastic. You have ways of amusing yourself. Stop. You're okay. Stop. Why are you being so bad? Oh my goodness. The thick of it. You like the thick of it. You could tell by your haircut that you didn't know any better. Why are you coming for my haircut now? I hate y'all making fun of my haircut. I wouldn't. No, Yoda, stop it. Yeah, he hasn't had catnip in a while. It's a newer nail polish, yeah. I'm not used to using it. I've painted once with it before, and I noticed it had kind of an odd formula. But we're going in with it again. We're going to make it happen. I have acetone. It'll be fine. It has to be acetone, people. It can't be anything else. You were afflicted back then, and the haircut tells it all. I definitely was afflicted. Modern Gentleman likes my hair. Thank you, Modern Gentleman. There's another person complimenting my hair today. That's so nice. Terry's hair don't look like a hat today. Yeah, it did look like a hat that one day. That was funny. I don't know. I kind of like when it does stuff like that. My hair has a lot of character. Matthew hates redheads. Does he? Who doesn't like redheads? Don't be directing people towards my old content. Modern Gentleman's like, I've seen, and he's laughing at me. He's laughing at me. My haircut I was feeling that myself too. I remember taking pictures of myself once I got that haircut. I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking good. Me and my cool little bowl cut, looking like a Korean feminist. Aw yeah. Looking ridiculous, honestly. But I don't know. I mean, no, Matthew. What is this? It's okay because she's not a tomboy anymore. I was never a tomboy. Yeah, I've never been a tomboy. I just had a funny haircut. I love your hair. I just don't like that ugly laugh. Why are you capping? Why are you pretending you don't adore my laugh? Yoda, please stop. Please stop being gross. I will time you out again. I don't want to read that stuff. Ugh. Don't use tomboy as a euphemism. No isms. Yeah, I don't know. I think they've been passing around old videos of me and giggling about how insane I was, which is fair. And I've left them up, so again, I'm not trying to hide anything. When my baby mama painted her nails, I went to the man cave. Yeah, I think Yoda did Yoda block you, Gregatron? I think that might be what happened. Because I can see him just fine. Would I consider republishing the Mommy Privilege series? Why? Stacy, why do you want that? The smell is eye-watering. Hey. That's not that bad. No, I remember my dad not liking it when I was a kid. He'd be like, yeah, I don't like the smell of all that stuff. It's gross. I was like, okay. He's like, but I like that you're, what did he say? He said something weird, like, I like that you're taking the time on yourself or something like that. Yeah, having pedicures is nice. It's a good practice to be in. Amy says I was always smart and good looking. Thank you, Amy. Stacy said my Mommy Privilege series was so good. Well, what does that mean? It was so good. It was so insane. What, like, really? That was insane. Like, do you mean it was good in the sense that it was humorous? The old Terri is gone. Stop it. Yeah, like it was a valid perspective. There were parts of it that were valid for sure. There were parts of it that were valid, but like I don't think women need to be acting that way with one another, and I don't want to be perpetuating any kind of like ill feeling towards women for being mothers. Like honestly, like it is the way it is. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. There's a reason for it. Like, what do you want to take away? Like, I don't know. I don't think mothers should automatically be given, like, necessarily more respect than anybody else, especially in a lot of circumstances it isn't called for. And there are ways that mothers act that can be off-putting to other people, especially like mothers that don't want to give up the role. Like a lot of women over-identify with their status as a mother or non-mother, and that's a big problem. I think that's more the problem than anything else, is the identification and the making an identity out of it. That's something that's worldly, you know. Pearl is autistic, I can tell. Oh God, really? I mean, come on, Stacy. Why? What are you talking about? She's autistic. What are you even like? Why do you think this woman who you've never interacted with is autistic? I think she's misguided. Maybe that. I mean, like. Chris is new. Because I understand autism. Do you? I don't know. I mean, like, she seems pretty capable to me. I don't know why she's being labeled autistic, because she's what? Not fitting into your idea of what, or like what? I don't understand. She seems pretty capable. What are my thoughts on Mohammed bin Salman? Tomas, I don't know who that is. Why would you think I know who that is? Do you want me to know who that is? Oh dear. Tomas thinks I know these things I don't know. It's sweet of him. He thinks more of me than... Let's see. Mohammed bin Salman. Autistic people can be very capable. Then why are we calling them autistic? Like, it's such a range. Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia. Do you think Americans be knowing who the Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia is? Like, what? He's incredibly evil. Oh dear, Tomas. Shout out to the feds in Jod. I'm autistic and I don't consider it an F-wording insult, for one thing, my God. Well, I should hope not, but I also think like it's another false identity for a lot of people. Like, why are you autistic? What is it about you? If you're so capable and like it's not holding you back in any way, why are you even like taking on the label? Like, why is it helpful to you? I don't understand. I've had this issue with like other people I know who have this diagnosis, and I just don't get it. I don't see it that way. Okay, so we're on the Wikipedia for this guy. The Saudi prince. Okay, so I'm assuming you mean Al-Sad. Okay, so he's a millennial. Pretty good, strong facial hair. Okay. He is the heir apparent to the Saudi Arabian throne. He is currently Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, seventh son of King Salman of Saudi Arabia, and the grandson of the nation's founder, King Abdulaziz. Okay. The first child of Prince Salman bin Abdulaziz and his third wife, Fada bint Bilal al-Hithline. Third wife. The third wife's son. How many other kids does he have? Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about him, honestly, to be honest. As I said, he has a strong beard. Okay. He has introduced a series of social and economic reforms, curtailing the influence of Wahhabi religious establishment by restricting the powers of the religious police. Well, that's nice. And improving women's rights. The removal of a ban on female drivers and weakening the male guardianship system. Right on. Well, I support all of that. We'll see how long it goes. Okay. But yeah, he is... Okay, he's the eighth child and seventh son of his father. God, imagine having that many kids. Men don't need to be having this many kids. I don't care who they are. Like, they don't need to be having that many wives, and they don't need to be having that many kids. It's ridiculous. Do I know Dr. Mike, the short, bald-headed guy that gives out advice? The dude gives good advice. No, I have no idea. Martin Gentleman says there's... Yeah, well, y'all need to control yourselves. Don't be having all these kids. Dang, stop it. Excuse me while I choke on my little drink. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Where are you? You right there. I'm fine. I wasn't hurt. I was okay. The tab. I'd love to have a tab. Do they even make tab anymore? Yeah, I did see that pic. Am I joking? Joking about what? No, I'm not, Tomas. Stop making all these... Why has he got multiple wives? 7 of 8 kids. I can't. Having too many kids. Especially like the leader of a nation. Like, what are you doing having all these kids? I guess he's not really doing anything for them. Somebody else is raising the kids. So to him, it doesn't matter. But I just don't think it's a stable thing in the long run. To be having multiple wives and a dozen or a million kids. No, men should have as many kids as possible. No, they shouldn't, Tomas. You get one wife and you have as many kids as you have together. That's ridiculous. Can't be having multiple baby mamas. It's ghetto. Stop it. What? I said no. You ain't coming up here. My nails are wet. I can't be petting you right now. I know you want to be held and petted, but you can't be. It's not happening right now. You have to wait. I know. It won't be too long. Betas are jealous, especially of this prince guy. Maybe. No, you aren't coming up here. You ain't getting up here. No, I see you thinking about it. You ain't coming up here. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Poor kitty. I think he is, but my nails. He has to wait. Stop it. No. You will not be coming up here. Don't be doing it. What are you going to do? You're going to get up on the desk? Because you ain't getting on my lap. Excuse me, y'all. Could I be a prince or nah? I want about 45. Tomas, stop it. How are you going to have 45? The cat wants attention, but Terri wants it more. He is not. I'm doing my nails. See? Controversial subject matter and nails. If you have a wife and she has 40 kids, what's wrong with that? It may not be medically possible. I don't like the look of them wives, like those quiverful wives, where they're pumping, the one wife is, I don't like those families. It ain't right. It's too much. Women who have 40 babies are going to heaven. It's no. I know, Frederick. I blame the blue wrench. Why did I mod everyone? Maynard, are you jealous that you don't have a wrench yet? You're the one who's been inappropriate all night. Hello. Who's a good kitty? Who's a good kitty? There are many kitties, but this one a good one, right? You a good kitty? What a good boy. What a good boy. That's a good kitty right here. Wow. What do y'all think? Is this a good kitty? Press 1 if this is a good kitty. The quiverful women, they're disturbing to me. Chris said 4 here for chat, I guess. Okay, Samuel and Gregatron say that this is a good kitty. What a good boy. What a good boy. 2 people think you're a good kitty. Unmod me. I am a Chad cop. Okay, sorry. Shoot. Okay. Dang. Mana can now time herself out for her N-word towers. Gosh. I did not say the N-word like 14 times today. Or do you mean telling him he's a good kitty? Are you a good kitty? Who's a good kitty? We only had 2 people saying he's a good kitty, though. Only 2 people with the ones. That's too bad. Everybody else is ignoring it. They don't know. They don't know how good this kitty is. Nero is an N-word. Whoa. He is black. I'll give him that. He does have that going for him. I'm indifferent about your kitty. Oh, wow. Well, no, Cecil's still a mod here at the Terri Strange channel. We're going to turn this little lamp on in the background. How's that? That's a bit nicer. I don't like having it all dark. I like sitting in the dark completely. It's not nice. Who's this wee boy? No, Stacey, I've had way more than this in the past. 25. I don't know what my highest was. I think it was like 70 something, maybe. I don't know. Could have been more, maybe. I used to, well, no, and then there was the one I did with the, no, I've had like collaborations where the views went over that. The chat is over your face on my TV. Oh, whoops. Yeah, that was kind of rude, Court. And CSAL wasn't the only mod to get fired, okay? Some of us are still processing that, actually. I didn't react too well to that. I don't know if you remember, but it was actually a bit of a traumatic experience for me to, be appointed a mod and then have my modship taken away. Oh, wow, he fired you too? God, Chris. Yeah, I was so hurt. I was like, I felt like safe, all the people coming for me, all the green eyes on me. But, at least I had that mod status at Joelle Friday TV. You thought my call was good? I hate when people think I'm trolling. I love that they talked about it on JLP show the next day. That made me feel like epic. JLP wanted to talk about my call on Joelle Friday TV with Hake. I was like, oh my God. Jesse heard it? I don't know why. I've called Jesse before. I just don't want to waste his time, though, with my silliness. I'm okay with being silly with any of them, really Joelle, Hake, or Nick, but my last call to Joelle was a bit of a flop. Yeah, it was. I agree. I'll do better next time. Not all my calls can be amazing. I'm only a human being. I'm not in control of it. I don't know what's going to come out of it. Okay. Sometimes we just, wow. Maina. Wow. Do you think she means it? No, I 100% Cecil. What? Cecil. I 100% meant that call. Why do you all think I'm trolling when I'm emotional? What? Why is it when I'm the most sincere, people think I'm trolling? Stop it, Matthew. I meant that call. Obviously, I was a bit trolly about it. Yeah, I was hamming it up, but my feelings were legitimate. I was being real about how I felt. Terry is rage bait. I kind of am, yeah. I kind of am. I'm hurt by Maina. I can't believe Maina doesn't want to play with me. She's unsubbed. She was you can't unsub. You're still going to be a member of the channel, at least for the next month. Hopefully she paid for her September membership. It's a new month. Get a new membership. Or maybe it like automatically charges. I don't know. I don't think I'm a member of any channels. It's kind of a weird thing. I figured I might as well set it up because they've been bugging me about it for years. Like set up channel memberships. And I was like, well, it's, you know, some people might be interested in it. We'll see where it goes. Last one who unsubbed is gay. Y'all, that's a good one. But anyway, just because I'm emotional or hamming it up doesn't, I feel like I'm my most real when I'm hamming things up. I'm like at my most heightened level when I'm being dramatic. That's the good stuff. That's the good part of Terry. That's what makes me exciting. Prosciutto it up. I did prosciutto it up recently. My friend came into town for her 20-year high school reunion, and we ended up going to dinner, and we split a pizza, and the toppings were prosciutto and fig and goat cheese. It was really good. Like, dang. It could have been a little bit better, but it was still good. Good combination of flavors. I think the next time you call, you should say meow at least 5 times. Oh dear. They're gonna stop taking my calls. I don't know. Yeah, I should have gotten some figs. I saw they were for sale at the grocery, but I didn't pick any up. They're probably in season now, huh? I love fresh figs. So good. Ugh. If I could have any like fruit trees, I would love to have figs, like figs and plums. I love fig preserves as well. They're just so good. Even fig Newtons. Yeah, fig Newtons. Fred brings up the fig Newtons. I love fig. Oh, so good. I put fig Newtons in the freezer for a tough chew. Oh, interesting. I've never had fig Newtons with milk. Like, I haven't had fig Newtons in so long. They were my favorite cookie, though, as a kid, because they were like, I don't know, just unique. Modern Gentleman, that's disgusting. They do smell really good, Court. I agree. Yeah. They do really well here in this area. I've known a number of people who've had fig trees, and they've just been like very abundant and have multiple like blooms, I guess. Is that the right word for fruit? The figs will come in, sometimes a few times. So you'll get like different harvests of figs. Oh, so good. I remember, I had a neighbor who had them and just would have so many. And then I lived on a property that had a beautiful plum tree. Oh my God, just right off the tree. You just can't beat right off the tree, ripe on the tree. So good. I saute fig Newtons in strawberry jelly and pour it over pumpkin pie. That's so sick. Are you serious? Or are you just trying to freak us out? Strawberry fig Newton. Wow. Okay, so who's celebrating Labor Day tomorrow? Does anybody have a 3-day weekend? Are you going to do anything to celebrate fake Labor Day? We all know the real Labor Day, right? Why do I still have this silly thing on in the background? Y'all, what's wrong with me? Why do you all put up with me? Why do you all put up with the likes of me? I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm going to laugh and point at rats who are working. Terry, you boomer. Labor Day is when women go into labor. Tomas is such a natalist. It's quite fascinating. Tomas with the natalism. Your ex holiday. Tesla bots will put everyone out of a job. Not my job. You guys work. Indeed, I do. I work. It's so. I had talked to like somebody I hadn't seen in months. He'd been traveling. He's a member of our church. Hadn't seen in a while, but he and his wife had been traveling around to different countries, and they've gotten back and are kind of putting their house together. Anyway, enough about them. But yeah, he asked me about my job today. Found out he worked in a similar field, so that was interesting. Somewhat similar. I mean, overall umbrella kind of field, but not kind of my particular area of expertise. But yeah, I do be working. And I have tomorrow off, so I'm looking forward to that. Tomas is trying to be Elon. Natalism is the way, literally. Indeed, but I think you're a bit exhausting with your numbers. Like, take it one at a time, all right? One at a time, please. Gregatron might call Hake or Joelle. I'll probably miss Hake's show tomorrow. I have plans in the morning. Jobs are definitely overrated. I was never happy until I quit working a job. I don't know. There's aspects of having a job that I enjoy, for sure. But yeah, I do feel Terry needs to set up a line so we can call into the show. Okay, the Grimes situation, Elon and Grimes were so gross. Like, I don't know what she thought she was doing getting into that situation, but she really fumbled herself there. Take a lesson from Grimes, ladies. Do not get yourself in that kind of situation at all. I couldn't believe it. And then she, like, after they broke up and she was, like, fundraising for her own music video, I was like, girl, what? And she was like, contrary to popular belief, he doesn't pay for this stuff for me. And I was like, girl, why the hell not? What are you thinking? You gave this man kids and he's not investing in you at all? Like, what the hell? And now you weren't ever married. And like they were living together still as well. It was like so ghetto and dusty. You're gonna miss Hake and Joelle. I don't know. I might be in time for Joelle. Now Terry will channel Sprinkle Sprinkle. Oh dear. I do enjoy the consistent security. She is, Tomas. Not just her. Elon Musk is as well. That whole situation was totally ghetto. Like, totally ghetto. I don't like, why are why do women get themselves, and I'm just like listening to that, I'm like, does she have that kind of like feminist mindset where she was like, you know, thinking, oh, you know, I want this man to, you know, see me as an equal. So even though we're totally not equals, I'm going to be doing all this stuff instead of like getting what I'm worth out of this situation. Like, why? Why did she do that to herself? Like, it's insane. Why do women do that? Like, I don't get it. Like, what did she think she was going to get on it? View her appearances, it is written on her. I suppose. I mean, you're not wrong there. She does look like very, do the literary analysis. Oh dear. Tomas does that to women. He does a literary analysis of them. He dissects them that way, I can tell. You'd be like thinking about women like men write about women in books. Oh my goodness. Wow. Why was she, and why is she doing that? She should have just stayed out of that. She should have just stayed out of that. What do I know about ghetto? I know enough. I know enough. Tell me that isn't a similar situation. Oh my God, who cares about Grimes? Yeah, I don't really care. I never was a fan of her music, so. But it got brought up. It got brought up, and I was kind of like, I remember like watching their breakup and being like, yeah, that's not a situation to ever get yourself in as a woman. Indeed. There's some ghetto things that happen. There's also some very amazing things that happen. Today was a beautiful day. And yesterday too. It was very hot yesterday, but okay. So I found another like Portland themed video. Speaking of Portland, I thought I would share with y'all. Did I turn off my presenting thing? I know enough. Okay. I want this to do. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured out how to get it exactly how I want it. So excuse me. Okay. This is titled Don't Move to Portland, Oregon, Cons of Living in Portland.
Today I'm going to break down all of the negatives, or shall we say cons, of living or moving to Portland, Oregon. We are going to discuss everything that you might run into and that you have to be ready to deal with when moving to the Portland metro area.
Really?
So let's get started. Hey guys, I am back with another video, and for you that have just tuned in for the first time, my name is Trisha Dirks. I am a local realtor in the Portland metro area.
Another
and if
realtor.
You want to know
Another
everything
realtor.
that there is about eating, sleeping, drinking, the fun.
Another realtor. Like, I don't know. I kind of don't want to watch it now. I'm kind of getting tired of these realtors. Shira would tell her to straighten her hair. You know what? Y'all need to, like, I will defend Shira over so many things, and that is one of them. She was talking about attracting men, okay? She wasn't talking about going about your life, but like, she was talking about ways of first attracting a man. And yeah, the straighter the hair, the more likely men are to notice you, the more likely you are to attract the attention of maybe a more, I don't know, high value man, if that's what you're looking for. It's the truth. You do you. Shira wears her hair curly all the time. She has her natural hair out a lot, but like she's a married woman. Like when you're on the pole looking to attract men, you know, your hair kind of is a part of the deal.
And the good, the bad, the ugly about Portland, Oregon. I am your girl, so don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell so you are notified each and every time I upload a video. I get emails and text messages all the time from people that are looking to move to the Portland metro or Oregon area, which I absolutely love. Reach out to me day or night. I'm here to answer any questions, whether you are moving in the next 6 weeks or 90 days or even up to a year. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Feel free to email, text, give me a call, pigeon carrier, whatever it's going to take to get that message over to me, but I will get back to you and let you know the answers to all of your questions. So last year I did a video on pros and cons of living in the area, and I got a ton of questions and a lot of requests that there just weren't enough negative things or cons in that video. So these won't be in any particular order, but if
I'm
you
really
hang
curious
tight to
what
the
you
end, I will tell you the worst of all worst things that you're going to have to deal with when moving to this city. So let's get started. Number one con is it could be hard to make new friendships. That could be a con in any city, but it is also a con here. I mean, Portlanders are very friendly. When you go to the grocery store and the clerk says, "How was your day?" they really mean it, but it just doesn't translate into an actual friendship. I mean, Portland has certain cliques and certain friends that kind of stay together, so it can be hard to get incorporated with those groups of people because they've been here for a long time. Especially, for instance, me, I was born and raised here, so a lot of my friend groups are people that were born and raised here. It's not that often that we connect with people that are outside of that friend group. You will find that all around Portland, where you'll have
Stock
your
footage,
Southeast
is it
people
even
and they're
from
all hanging
Portland?
together, or
Like,
your
this is
Northeast
so
people and they're all
fake.
hanging together. But the one thing that you can
That's so
do
fake. Like, look at that. Like, what is with the splice cuts? Those videos, are they even from Portland? They don't look like it. They look like they were purchased on one of those silly websites. Ugh. I thought this was going to be a real video, and it's just another realtor. Tired of this fake nonsense. Moved to Portland and wear a Trump shirt. You know what I saw the other day? Actually, it was yesterday. My friend and I walked down to a park nearby, and somebody in one of their condos had a Trump 2024 sign in their window. I was like, oh, right on. Because I was thinking, like, it'd be funny to put something up on my balcony, but yeah, I didn't think it would go over well. I thought it might attract negative attention. I'm almost done, I promise. Do you miss me? Are you missing me? Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm tired of this fake content. Fake news, fake content, fake people, fake. But yeah, that was cool. Anyway, I think we'll cut it off there tonight, y'all. It was a fun stream, but Nero's right. I need to get going. It's getting late. I have to be up early in the morning anyway, so even though it's Labor Day, I won't be working. So maybe we'll do a fun stream. I might come on and finish the latter part of the book sometime in the afternoon. I have no idea. I couldn't speak to, I can't speak to Court Green's skills in any regard. You big pervert. Portland has a big anarchist presence indeed. That would be a con. I should do a cons of living in Portland video. Would that be fun? A cons. I mean, yeah, and I don't doubt that she's a native Portlander. But I do wonder what it's about there with her, and the fact that she's a realtor, just and the fake, clip video content is very disgusting to me. It just comes across as fake. Because it is, let's be real. But yeah, there is a big anarchist presence, and that can be a bit unsettling. I mean, there's a lot of political extremism here, like, apart from the anarchists, there's just a lot of activism. Generally, it can be avoided, but not always. So, I don't know. What do the anarchists do? Not a whole lot, but they do commit a lot of vandalism, mainly. They're vandals. They're menacing, and they commit acts of vandalism, mainly. But anyway, y'all, we don't need to talk about them. They're not the point. I appreciated you all joining me tonight. We talked about some controversial subject matters. We hung out. How is vandalism anarchy? Indeed, Tomas. Indeed. Well, that's what they do. They LARP a bit too. They have their little clubs and their different kind of associations and that. Some of them have had interesting things. There was a Red and Black Cafe for many years, which was an anarchist co-op cafe, which was really good until it went vegan. And then, they've had like other collectives. There was like a nice bookstore. There's a few like places like that, bookstores and community centers they run that have been nice places for the community, but mostly just a lot of mess. What are you doing? Hey, you are not going outside. Okay, y'all. I have to go. I hope you all have a good night. Bye. Why are you